Alrighty, let's do a sound check. Can you see us? Can you hear us? And we will get started with the show. Alrighty. Make sure that we're all on here good. Marcus Aurelius is in the house. The babies. The babies get to eat today.
Yeah. All right, we're good to go. So.
All right, cool, perfect. All right, guys. Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. This is our weekly show that we do. It is a fly by the seat of our pants kind of show. We interact with you guys, the viewers in the chat. We take your questions and we discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. My name is Jessi. This is my partner, friend, confidant, and lover, Joe. And we've had one heck of a weekend and week this past week. But we're happy to be here on the show with you guys. So let's get started. Yes, I will address the elephant in the room. My hair is no longer blue. I got rid of the blue hair. Autumn and fall is a good time to make some changes and let some things die. And I think it's time to let the blue hair die.
Damn.
So.
Oh, people are liking the hair, so there you go. So
Joe and I now kind of match with our hair.
Yeah, we got stylish gray.
Stylish gray.
Gray never goes out of style. So
all right, guys. We're glad to have you guys here. It's been kind of a stressful, crazy kind of couple of weeks. So, and a couple of days. I know the weekend was pretty nuts for us. So it's good to be here on the show and we're going to have a good time with you guys. We want to thank Josh Turner for hopping on there and letting everybody know that we were coming on tonight and letting everybody know that we do have our show tonight. So welcome everybody that's coming here from PRT. We appreciate having you guys here and hope you guys have a good time.
Yes, indeed. So
some housekeeping. I'm going to get out of the way real quick. Weekend after next, October 14th and 15th, we're going to be in Burns, Tennessee at the Montgomery Bell State Park for the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con. I'll be speaking on that Saturday right before Ron Moorhead speaks. He'll be taking the stage after me. So you guys want to make sure you get in there, see me, and then you get to stay for the man himself, Mr. Ron Moorhead. Ron Moorhead is the gentleman who recorded the famous Sierra Sounds, which is probably one of the best pieces of Bigfoot evidence ever captured, other than the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah, it's probably the audio equivalent of the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah.
So
he also wrote The Quantum Bigfoot, which is a seminal work that really changed the way we thought about the way Bigfoot interacts with his environment and what Bigfoot could actually be. So it's going to be an absolute blast and an honor to go on stage right before Mr. Ron Moorhead. There's also a Q&A at the end of the day that we will be involved in, as well as him and all the other speakers from the day. Now, that next Sunday, our friend and brother, Mr. Martin Groves, will be taking the stage. He'll be presenting and talking about his encounter in the LBL in 1993. That's featured in his book, Beasts Between the Rivers. Also joining us, I think Barton Nunley will be in attendance.
Barton's going to be running around, and we're all going to be clustered together, probably hidden away in like a back corner of the hall.
Away.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, where's Joe, Jessi, Martin, and Barton? Oh, they're over there behind that giant potted plant. You can't miss them. So
we did request to have our table next to Martin Groves, so we are going to be clustered together. Dewey Edwards and Dee Edwards are also going to be there. So that also means
I think Daryl Denton's coming.
Daryl Denton's coming. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know a bunch of you Hellbenders are coming. So it's going to be a blast. It's a beautiful state park, and we're going to take it over. And we're
like
gonna,
literally,
like
remember The Park Is Mine with Tommy Lee Jones? That's going to be us, but like instead of camo, it's like blaze orange.
Hellbender style.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are going to have a blast. You guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Joe and I are going to be there a couple of extra days doing some stuff.
Joan said farm, not to interrupt you once in a what time you're speaking. I think we're like the
11 a.m.
second, we're kind of leading it off before Ron Moorhead.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think Ron's at 12. I think I'm at 11. So, or Ron's at 12:30, but I'm the second speaker of the day. So the schedule will be issued, and I'm going to be discussing some of our evidence and talking about hunting monsters, the outdoor paranormal research and investigations in Appalachia. So I'm going to be discussing that, some of our techniques that we use, some of the stuff that we use. We're going to be bringing all of our equipment. So you get to see all of the equipment that we actually use in the field and get an up close and personal look at it at our table. We'll have all of that out so you can get a look at it. Miss D is coming, so I ordered some hats. So there will be some hats available at the event. I don't know how many will make it there, but there will be some Hellbent Holler trucker hats available at the event.
Because in true Hellbent Holler fashion, we just ordered them after
Yes.
we've been talking about it for weeks. So
as far as t-shirts go, we're taking what t-shirts we have. So if we got them, we got them. And then we return. I'm going to do a pre-order on t-shirts because everybody keeps asking for t-shirts and merchandise and stuff. So I'll do a pre-order on that. That'll be live on our website when we return. I'll let you guys know about that so you guys can get in on that if you want a Hellbent Holler t-shirt. And we'll do that. And then that'll be that'll take care of that request for everybody. So,
cool.
Mr. Doyle.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. We don't do a lot of these just for time's sake. It's difficult for us to do these unless we have a ton of notice. So we were able to get everything arranged, the stars aligned, and we will be there. It's going to be pretty cool. And like Jessi said, we'll actually have all of our equipment out at the table. So it's been a big hit everywhere we've done that at.
Yes.
They really enjoyed that at Monster Fest because, a lot of people, the closest approximation to what we do is shows on TV, Expedition Bigfoot and stuff like that. And they have these giant casts with a bunch of support staff. And with us, it's just the two of us, just two idiots running around the woods. But a lot of people have never seen some of this equipment in person before. So you've seen some of the stuff that we use, and we'll have it all there just kind of laid out. Just for people to kind of see how the equipment works and kind of have a point of reference when they see the stuff used on TV at that point.
Yeah, and of course, we're going to be at the table. You can ask us any questions you want to ask.
Not any question you want. So
within reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can ask us any question about the equipment, how we use it, and anything like that. Just come up to the table and ask us and let us know if you're from the show. That would be great if you let us know that too.
Neil wanted to know, where is it at again?
Yeah, no problem at all. It is in Burns, Tennessee at the Montgomery Bell State Park. And that's October 14th and 15th. So weekend after next. So it's coming up. It is coming up quickly. So we've got to start getting everything primed up, change the oil in the car, and get all that stuff put together. I'm preparing myself mentally for stopping at the Buc-ee's in Crossville, Tennessee. Which is a rite of passage every time we go through there, that we stop at the Buc-ee's and I have to mortgage the house for a order of beef jerky there.
Last time we went to the LBL, we were there for about 2 weeks. And
not at Buc-ee's, the LBL.
Well, we might as well have been at Buc-ee's for 2 weeks because we lived off jerky for literally 2 weeks at that point. So I'd be like, let's go get some food. Let's get out of the LBL for a little while. Let's get a shower. Let's go eat. Oh, I've got more jerky in the car. Of course, you've got more jerky.
That turkey jerky's where it's at. That's the winner. So we'll be doing that, and we're looking forward to it. It's gonna reinvigorate me.
Yeah.
After the mental taxation that has occurred over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So somebody asked a question.
They just asked you were feeling better after I started because I figured we'd get to that after we got everything else out of the way. We'll get to get all to that, but let me start that as well before we go on. So it's been a crazy week. We did a live stream.
Yes, we did. So, week before last, we did an impromptu live stream from the side of a mountain using our remote cell booster equipment that we got from Steve Causey. And we went out there, we set it up, and we did a impromptu live stream. So we figured, why not? Let's do what we had talked about a couple of times, a stationary stakeout with all of this equipment. We had a parabolic, we had a thermal monocular, we had our full color Psionics night vision camera, and we had all of our sensor tech, which is generally what you would find in a ghost hunter's kit. We had all of that, including our spectrum analyzer, Joe even brought out the infrasound detection equipment,
which was surprisingly active.
We have talked about doing a stakeout sort of investigation and either filming it or live streaming it for you guys to check out. I know that a lot of people suggest to us, why don't you just sit there with all of your instrumentation and let the phenomenon come to you? So we decided that's what we would do. We set all that up and we live streamed it.
Mhm.
Now, we encountered a metric ton of difficulties. The tower that I guess we got week before last, we couldn't get this time when we were trying to position.
Just did not exist as far as the.
It's almost like it didn't exist.
Somebody left a smart ass comment going, I basically just got to watch you guys fail with $10,000 worth of equipment. And I'm going, actually, you got to see us succeed. We were failing up until the point where we went live.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was able to go, and we were able to get a little bit of signal. It was a little choppy, but considering where we were,
yes.
Usually we have to drive an hour to get signal at that point, but
hour and a half
at that. Yeah. And at that highest elevation, we're able to pick up a little bit and stream it out. We're not going to do too many of those because it's difficult as all get out to do. And then also when something weird happens, we can't leave that spot. We're stuck at that spot. So that's not our style. So
yeah,
we'll do those every once in a while, but I mean, we're rearing to get back to just a regular standard.
I think you could probably see my frustration during that investigation, that I was kind of a tiger in a cage at that point, that I'm just pacing back and forth and I can't really be let loose. Because every time we're in the woods and something happens, me, I take off right after it. I was stuck there. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't run off because I have all of my equipment on top of this freaking mountain and I can't leave it and run off into the woods after something that I hear, something we see. So that was very frustrating for me. It was very different, but it's okay to get out of your comfort zone sometimes, just to kind of experiment around and see what happens. We got a lot of strange sounds during that live stream. There's a lot of clacking. There was some howling that went on. There was some lights.
There was at one point a barred owl.
There was a barred owl.
And we identified it as a barred owl. And we even went, it's a barred owl.
Yeah.
And then we had a few people going, I think that one point what you heard was a barred owl. And I'm going, yes, it was.
Yes.
That's why when you ever see me on there and I'm just repeatedly going, that red light that you see there is our equipment. Because at one point we caught those weird lights in the woods. We don't know what those were.
Right.
Just from a very thick part of the forest, but some of those lights were from some of the equipment we had around. And I know I sound like a broken record, but that way, if somebody just kind of tunes in, I don't want somebody getting really excited thinking that they've seen something when it's just a light from our equipment. So
yeah, so we do get barred owls out there all the time. And I don't know if we ever told you guys about the first time we ever heard a barred owl. We were camping and we were both asleep, and all of a sudden we had a mating pair of barred owls near our tent, and they started just going off.
You'd heard barred owls before, but never like the mating call of a barred owl.
Oh, they were
going at it for like an hour.
These were some horny owls.
These some horny owls,
horny owls, because they were just going, wah! And I was like, what is that? And it sounded like a monkey ostrich.
Monkey ostriches, yeah.
That was the only way I could describe what the heck it was. I was like, there's a horny monkey ostrich in the tree.
I've got a clip on my phone. Before we moved, when we lived in the woods, the place we used to live stream from, and you know which clip I'm talking about, right?
Oh, we're talking to the owls.
We had our window open one night, and you could hear a barred owl out there. Now, not going to the degree that Jessi was just talking about, but just a standard barred owl. So she's at the window with her face pressed up against the screen, and she's just going, "Oh, I can hear him! I can hear him!" And I'm filming her the whole time. She has no clue that I'm filming her, and I'm going, do a barred owl noise. And she's like doing a barred owl noise. And I'm going, now do it lower. And she just drops it lower. And I'm like going, now do a monkey noise. See if they recognize that. And then for like 3 minutes, I'm just filming her, making her do these. And then she goes, wait, are you recording me? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm recording you. What are you talking about?
Well, I'll put that up on the, I'll put that up as a short or something one day. Cause I do have that. We do have that. So,
I want to address something else too. I've got a few people in here.
Yeah.
So not everybody knows, but I did go on a Paranormal Roundtable with Josh, Tina Moss, and a few people earlier this week. Did that while you were at work that night.
Yes.
And we were discussing some of the recent drama and tribulations that a few of our channels have been just encountering over the past, I want to say over the past few weeks, but we think it's been going on longer than that. I wanted to kind of address this a little bit more because I've had some people go, oh, don't get involved in like any cryptid drama. Please don't. If you've watched our channel for a while, you know that we generally laugh off most of the crap that comes our way, including possibly getting the cops called at us in the LBL.
Yeah.
We make
jokes about that.
We don't even mention that channel by name. Okay. We joke about it. I'm still salty about it. You are too. That changed the way we had to do some stuff. But we didn't come back with this crazy vendetta that we wanted to pursue. All right. So I just want to make sure that I'm reinforcing with people is that we don't go over and hassle other channels.
No, sir.
We don't go over and hassle other content creators.
No, sir.
If you think that we're crazy, I can give two craps about it. Same way with you, right? If you want to badmouth us on your channel, knock yourself out, man. We don't do YouTube shenanigans, okay? What we're irritated and upset about is we spend a lot of time and money on this. Okay?
We spend all of our time and money on this.
We spend all of our time and money on this. When we were able to go live this weekend from the side of the mountain, that was hours of work getting up to that.
Yes.
Fighting equipment, lugging stuff up and down a mountain, hiking miles and miles.
There were some tears, okay, I will say.
there were a couple points when we were just going, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But my thing is that when somebody tries to disrupt that and somebody is using a multitude of fake accounts to try to flood our channel with like inappropriate comments, hoping we're going to get taken down.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody is contacting us, trying to stir needless drama up with fake accounts. When somebody basically goes, I'm going to take down Joe and Jessi's channel because it'll just make my channel that much more popular. Okay. I've got a real issue with that. And you guys know me from like a little Bigfoot show we do here, a little paranormal show. I don't deal well with stuff like that. So that is why we kind of broke our self-imposed rule on getting involved in any of the stuff that goes on. Because this goes beyond two people disagreeing on what the nature of Bigfoot is, or I believe in Dogman. Oh, I don't believe in Dogman. Let's argue about it. This is somebody literally trying to just derail all the hard work we have put into doing this. Okay?
Yes, yes.
We don't make money off this. This is a huge drain on our time and our resources.
And mental energy.
And mental energy. And by the time we get to Monday night live streams, our bodies are beat to hell from being out all weekend long. We're both sick right now from being out just for hours this weekend doing this stuff. So I don't want to say that I'm offended by people asking me that or saying that, but I guess I am a little bit. So everybody knows the channel I'm talking about, Abnormal Investigations, that he used to be in our chat with several different users. Usernames, exactly. Several different fake accounts. So if you guys want to know why we did that, why I did that, that's why. I'm not going to let somebody derail all the hard work we put into this.
Nope.
This channel is a vehicle for us to share our experiences, share the quest for answers that we have. And that's all it is. It's a method for us to share it with people that are interested in it. Nobody's taking that away unless we decide to stop it ourselves.
Correct. Yep. The only person that's going to pull the plug on this is going to be us. And we came really close this weekend.
Yeah. So it's if you think that we're being crybabies about something, if you want to support somebody who is trying to ruin our hard work, then knock your ass out. Just go over there, do that. You don't have to be in our chat anymore. You don't have to be in our shows anymore. Don't support us. This is not, we don't see eye to eye on this stuff with hardly anybody that we associate with. And that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All of us have different stuff. This is not an argument over this. This is an argument over somebody who decided, I don't like the fact that they are developing an audience. I don't like that they're getting attention. Instead of me doing stuff that people will find interesting, maybe I'll just take them down so that then people will come to my channel. And that's asinine and freaking juvenile.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we're not going to spend the whole show talking about it, but we've gotten messages about it. That was me that did it. I stand by what I did. None of us should have to deal with this crap. And hopefully this resolves itself and we can all go back to arguing about Bigfoot then. So there you go. That's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Joe.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
A little fired up there, man.
You are a little fired up.
I'm pissed off. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and it's
weird behavior, man. Weird behavior. So all right. So what we got here? This is what I got. Let's jump into some of these comments.
Let's do it.
Marcus Aurelius, of course, starting it off with,
what's up, Marcus Aurelius? How you doing today? All right.
First off, thank you for that, Marcus. Greatly appreciate it.
You might have to read some of these because
Jessi, all right, so that was one of the questions I had is, are you over your roid rage yet?
No. Well,
no, she's not at all.
I'm not. Today's the last day of my steroids. So today's the last day of my steroids. When I take them, I can't, my vision's really blurry. So I'm going to have trouble reading these. But today's my last day. So tomorrow begins the withdrawal period.
Looking forward to that. Oh yeah. So
no, but I'm done after today. I feel a little better today. It suppresses my immune system. So I got a cold now too. So that's good.
Okay. So,
all right. Marcus Aurelius says, love you both.
Hey, let me just read this.
Yeah, I can't
Save
read.
yourself some embarrassment. So, hey, do each of you individually have any theories on the Brown Mountain lights that you captured so magnificently? That's very well put.
The Brown Mountain lights, to me, what I expected when we went up to see the Brown Mountain lights, I expected them to be kind of floating through the woods, because originally they were described as the torches. What the natives referred to them is the torches of the maidens looking for their braves. When there was a battle between the Cherokee and the Catawba, and that was supposed to be ghostly maidens searching the mountains for their braves. So based on that story, I expected these lights to kind of be moving through the woods. And I know that some people, when they see them, they're moving through the woods and they're just down on the ground or on the side of the mountain moving through the woods. When we were there, we saw, I think, 2 or 3 stationary in the woods, moving a little bit, but mostly we saw these lights coming out of the top of the mountain and then kind of maneuvering around, floating, and then going down. To me, they behaved more like UAPs. Mm-hmm. They behaved more like a light phenomenon that'd be associated with UAPs. So yeah. I think that was kind of interesting, because I think I was more associating them with ghostly type stuff and not so much like almost like an alien type phenomenon.
Yeah. So we were expecting the stereotypical lights in the woods that we've caught several times, that we've been able to catch. If you look at some of our early videos, you hear us going, "Do you see that light in the woods?" And then we're pointing our janky night vision camcorder at it, and it's not picking it up. So then we had to start experimenting with different types of cameras in order to be able to find the right mix of technology to pick them up. Yeah. So I was expecting standard flashes of lights, little floating balls in the forest, ghost lights, witch lights, spook lights, will-o-wisps, whatever you want to call them. I was not prepared for the giant
light show
plasma balls that seem to emit out of the tops of the mountains.
And I guess plasma ball is the best way you can kind of describe it, because they were very brilliant when we viewed them through the Psionics full color night vision camera. They were very brilliant, and they actually had different colors. Each one had like a different color to it. There were some that were like yellowish green, some that were orange, some that were red, and they behaved differently as well.
Back like in the early 2000s, there were scientists were talking about, they thought that they had found plasma that behaved almost as if it was alive. It would replicate. They seemed to, the literature never really got expounded upon, but they talked about how it would move, replicate, and communicate with one another. Okay. As I was watching it, that was the only thing that came to me. That's not what I was expecting, but I was just looking at it going,
we need to plug this laptop up.
We look, uh-oh, you dying?
I'm dying.
Uh-oh. Are you dying, or is the laptop dying?
Both. We're both gonna die. Come on.
So
go back to balls.
Get back to the balls.
Get back to the balls, Joe.
So as I was watching that, all I kept thinking was, this looks like living plasma, because these things are getting up, they're drifting. They don't look like mechanical craft. They don't look like drones or airplanes or Chinese lanterns or balloons or anything like that. They look like balls of plasma that are moving intelligently and somehow interacting with one another. So I don't know. And again, trust me, we are completely familiar with, I'm familiar with earthquake lights. I'm familiar with how certain crystals, when put under stress with like tectonic movements, can like actually emit light at that point. That's not what we saw. We saw living balls of light moving around in the sky.
Or even how like the aurora borealis, that's considered like a plasma, how that lights up in the sky.
Yeah, but it was not.
But this is self-contained in a ball. It's not waves of plasma like the aurora borealis would be.
Yeah.
These are self-contained balls of light that rise out of the mountain, behave intelligently. Some of them go back down, some of them disappear, some of them just float off into the ether. So that's a huge difference there. A lot of times with a natural plasma occurrence like the aurora borealis, you'll have that wavy, more free form, gaseous nature. This was self-contained or it was spherical.
So anyway, that's what I'm thinking about that. It's just that and that's where I think a lot of the UAP phenomenon's like. I don't think it's mechanical craft in a lot of cases. I think that you are dealing with actual energy, and if you are seeing something, I think you're only seeing, I still think that you might be seeing fourth dimensional creatures in craft, and they're just intersecting with the third dimension. You're only seeing part of them. Gary Nolan had talked about how he thought that what people were seeing when they saw UAPs weren't even the full body of whatever it is, that they were just basically seeing the drive, the impulse drive or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
Crypto Castleberry says that Brown Mountain footage is among the most impressive I've seen of anything that's unexplained. I was shocked at that footage. I was personally just shocked at that footage.
Chris Jackson, for the Jerky and Vienna Sausage Fund.
I actually had Vienna sausages for breakfast the other day.
That does not surprise
Isn't that
anybody.
terrible?
Anybody who has spent any time in this chat whatsoever, that does not surprise anybody here.
I had one on a fork, and I sent a picture to Joe, and I said, I got that little dog in me.
Got that little dog in me. So, all right. So, I'm just now catching up when I went on my rant there. So, but I will put that up. We have gone out of our way to try to like be cordial with everybody in this, even if we disagree with them totally.
I'm starting some stuff about the Brown Mountain discussion if you want to get into that.
All right. I don't know where you're at. I don't know where I'm at. We already covered how you're feeling after the investigation. Our buddy Steven said that there's an audio clip on YouTube with Ron Moorhead and I assume Alberry listening to the presumed Bigfoot vocalizing, and it's really creepy to wake up to in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So
yeah,
that's one of those things that just sticks with you when you hear it. Okay. And the singular nature of the Sierra sounds is something that really sticks with me. Okay. There's really no other recordings of that caliber, of that magnitude, of that depth. You hear people talk about it occasionally. I mean, we heard that really faint, what sounded like Samurai Chad, right? That's what made us build the parabolic setup that we have. And we always go back to that theory that they were using like analog recording equipment. They were using like tape. They were using basically a big professional tape deck. And
the Patterson Gimlin film was filmed,
on film.
So
so we're all digital. So we're looking at maybe over the next year getting like some actual analog equipment. It's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be consume a lot of power. It's not gonna be very durable.
But it's worth a try to see if
it's worth a try just to give it some try. So
1DZ2 Mini says, would it be possible to run a drone at those lights to see if they react?
Probably not, given the fact that we're going from mountain peak to mountain peak and just the winds that are
the wind
involved.
shear's got to be insane.
Just when people that night were going,
that gorge,
it's teasing us saying they were Chinese lanterns, and I'm going, the wind's like whipping up here. We're freezing. We're like on the top of the mountain, and a drone. I don't know if commercial drones could have. I don't know if military drones could have stayed up with that. I mean, that wind shear was like insane up there. I mean, we were freezing. So
well, right below where we were is just that gorge, and it just drops straight down. There's a river down below. It is a tunnel. It's a wind tunnel. So out there on that overlook where we were, it was so freaking cold. It was just freezing. So I don't know if a drone could handle that kind of impact from the wind.
I'm sure there's a drone out there. Is it going to be something that someone would casually be flying around the mountains at night when it was below freezing and everybody with any sense was at home? And more than likely there wouldn't be anybody out there to see it. So I don't know. Sacred Grove Bros, $5. No time to stare off the back at the wake when the authenticity is driving the boat. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. Real quick, Robert Randolph had asked, has anybody tried shining a laser light at the Brown Mountain
We
lights?
flashed a high-powered flashlight at it a couple of times.
And they disappeared.
And they disappeared after that.
They went away and winked, and then we waited a while, and they came back, and then we did it again, and they went away, and they never came back again. So, Tim Prater, thank you very much for that. Longtime viewer, first time catching a live show.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Man.
Thank you very much for that, Tim. I'm glad you're able to catch it. You're catching us on a good night. We got a good crowd in here tonight, so. Marcus Aurelius follows up with that. Thank you again, Marcus. Our recommendation is to put some high-powered lasers on the Brown Mountain lights. See if there's a reaction when you're out there again. He saw basketball-sized blue-green plasma balls as a kid. We don't usually carry a laser. We don't usually need one. And I'll be honest with you, when we went up to the Brown Mountain lights, we weren't expecting all of that. We were kind of caught off guard, and you can kind of tell that by watching us. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So going up next time, we're going to take, I think we're going to take a red, a green, and a blue laser and take it up and see if we can get any sort of interaction
And I'd like to go on a different moon phase to see if there's like a difference between that too. We were out there on a full moon that night. So, you know, we had a lot of, I hate to say it, light pollution from the moon itself too. I wonder if on a new moon, if we would see something different, if it would behave differently, if that has any effect on it whatsoever. If we lived closer, I'd go out there way more often and really start charting that kind of thing. But, you know, I think that we probably got the best footage of the Brown Mountain Lights ever captured.
Toot my own horn here.
Toot. But it's also because we have the technology to do it. We go out there, we hunt for the phenomena with the right technology. That's why we have all of this stuff, is we're trying to gather real data on these subjects. That way,
even if we don't know what the data is telling us at that moment,
we still have it. So that's why we went out there with that full color night vision camera, because that's going to grab every piece of light that's hanging out there, you know, and record it. And so we were able to actually get that really good footage. So I'm just curious, on a night of a new moon, with it being darker out there, what we would capture with that particular camera.
We are going to definitely go back in the same time of the year, just because there's really nobody out. It's cold. It's like a ski town up there, man. And you go up there when it's cold, but there was no snow. Remember? So everybody was just talking about how slow it was up there. And we were just like, this is perfect for us. So anyway, so we also
we were able to go up to Beach Mountain though for lunch and got pizzas, and we played that Terminator arcade game, and that was awesome. I got too intense.
You got too intense. It was the Terminator, like, first person shooter game. It's like a double one, and we had to like leave because Jessi was getting too into the game.
I was like reloading and screaming.
And so I just wanted to share this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Leave those Dalmatians be.
I can live out my fantasy of being Cruella DeVille.
Cruella DeVille, and then they want to know how much the giant gummy bear is left.
There's a lot of that gummy bear left.
There's going to be a lot of that.
I'm not allowed to have too much sugar when I was on my steroids, because apparently it would make me go into like a diabetic coma or something like that. But as soon as I've weaned myself off of the drugs, I'm going straight for the gummy bear. So the gummy bear, his days are numbered. Yeah.
This goes onto our live stream. Did you figure out what's causing the weird Zoom loop thing? She couldn't see it. She didn't know what I was talking about. It wasn't until we got home and then we were able to get in, get everything, get a couple hours sleep. And I'm like, let me show you.
He showed me that. And I'll tell you something right now. The fact that it kept doing it, there was nothing on the screen, not like a water droplet was on the screen causing it to cause that. And it's not like it was zooming in and out, in and out. It was looping.
It would loop.
It was
on
loop
you.
zooming.
And I even got her phone out and tried to replicate it to see, like she talked about, in case there was a water droplet. I don't know where the water droplet came from. It was dry as a bone out there. But
a bit of spittle or something.
I just hosed it down. Wow. But we couldn't replicate it, and I have no clue. I don't know, and I'm going to say I don't know if that was. How do I want to say this? I can't say that it wasn't an equipment malfunction, but we've never experienced an equipment malfunction like that. It's a cell phone. You're streaming from a cell phone.
This is still a piece of technology.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It seems like whatever is going on. Okay, last time we used the beacon, we had problems with our camera. Now you'll see that in the Equinox film, but we had problems with some of our tech when we fired that freaking beacon up.
Yeah.
I have a theory about what's going on with all of that stuff and the beacon.
I have a theory about what's going on with the beacon.
But I think we're going to include that in the Equinox film that I'm doing.
I will give a little hint on that. Okay. Sometimes the phenomenon, and when I say the phenomenon, all of this stuff, all of the high strangeness, all of the weirdness. Okay. We know that sometimes it's interactive. Okay. Sometimes it's interactive in more negative ways than others. Sometimes it doesn't like it. It seems like it doesn't like being poked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it gets offended.
And you have crossed some sort of arbitrary line with some of the tech we've used. And I think that beacon, the latest incarnation of it, I think that it bothers something. It's crossing some sort of line. We both got sick after this. You want to talk about that? So
yeah, we both.
I mean, you're on steroids, but I'm not. I woke up the next day and my eyes were red and gum shut. I think I messaged Barton about it. Like I was just like, yeah, my eyes were getting John Keel flashbacks here.
Yeah.
Now we didn't see anything like up close. We saw those light anomalies at a distance, but we've seen those before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
that doesn't mean that something wasn't there that we couldn't see with our naked eye on our visible spectrum.
Why was just the EMF detector going off? We test all of this equipment next to each other. We put all this equipment together. When we get a new piece of equipment, we go, okay, well, let's set off any of our sensor technology. So that way we know about it, okay? Like on the spectrum analyzer, you could pick up very clearly the signal from the cell booster, okay? So we knew what that was. We don't normally see that, but we see it when we're using the cell booster. We can disregard it. But nothing sets off that EMF detector like that we are using. And I even told you, I said, it seems like it only happens when I'm staring at it. You know, like the observer effect is going in on there. So, all right. So what else we got? We go else to some of the stuff that we had here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Daniel Cargill said, so no collaborations with other creators. We are very limited with time with a lot of stuff, and we are very limited in the fact that we always have a real full plate of stuff we want to try. Our big thing is that you're not ever going to see us at like a KOA campground with like a Bigfoot research channel, walking around having our little bats in our back. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. Our big thing is we want to try like new stuff that other people aren't doing. Doesn't make us any better, doesn't make us any worse, but our theory is that we've been trying the same stuff for decades at this point. We haven't advanced our knowledge any at all, right?
Right.
So we're going to try some dumb stuff, and some of it's going to work and some of it's not. But so that's part of it.
Part of my dumb stuff that I did this weekend was firing up the beacon and then going and attempting to do
like a CE5,
like a meditation.
Yeah.
But it was like a meditation to try to draw something in. And it was like a silent, solitary meditation next to the beacon, which I regret doing that now because I'm very sick. And I don't know if that's a correlation or causation there. You can hear how I'm talking right now. But I was sitting there and I was doing that part and concentrating and kind of opening myself up to the other, whatever it is, calling it in. And I had that beacon going and I felt the ground below me start to warm up in a way, like a vibration and a warmth from the ground below me. And that's when I jumped up and I came back over to Joe because I knew at that point that we were messing with something a little too.
Yeah.
I wasn't physically in a position to where I could defend myself and spiritually in a position where I could defend myself at that point, just because I'm so physically run down right now.
Yeah. So and again, you know, looking at it, we experience some things that you go, you're on the fence about. Is it like just a coincidence? Is it, you always want to like not read too much into something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff we get is honestly like that sometimes. Sometimes if you take it like in totality, you go, wow, that's leading towards something. But like if we just see one stray light in the woods at night, we usually just write that off. Or we just go, let's see if we see anything else. It's when you start to see multiples that it becomes something. Getting sick after being out there, you're on steroids, your immune system's down. Mine's not.
Yeah.
I don't usually wake up with my eyes red and crusted and just nasty looking. I thought I was coming down pink eye.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, I'm getting pink eye. And then I'm like, your immune system's compromised. Well, this is going to be a fun week. You know, who's going to take care of me?
So Joe made a reference to John. Who's going to take care of me?
Who's going to take care of me? So
Joe made a reference to John Keel earlier. John Keel has mentioned before that people who encounter this phenomenon and see these lights, encounter even the Mothman phenomenon, that they have physical effects that are long lasting. There are people who are basically waking up with their eyes crusted like they were full of sand. John Keel experienced that himself, and he experienced that several times. There are also people who were basically, as it was described, as they were burned on the inside, that they would urinate black. So
almost as if they had been microwaved.
Almost as if they had been microwaved, yeah. So,
and if you guys watch this, you know that I think that a lot of the strange phenomenon we deal with and that other people deal with, that there are electromagnetic elements that go hand in hand with that.
And our electromagnetic, our EMF reader is going crazy. Was going nuts.
So I think that one possible explanation for some of the strange sounds that people hear, and some of the possible quote unquote mind speak is microwave auditory phenomenon, you know, where basically certain frequencies of microwaves can stimulate parts in your brain, and your brain basically has an auditory hallucination. Now, they could duplicate that in a laboratory, and they could even transmit anywhere between 3 and 7 words, but then they said, oh, but then the brain started dangerously heating up, you know.
Yeah.
Goes back into John Keel. You know what I'm saying? Maybe something's not trying to hurt you. Maybe something's trying to communicate with you.
Yeah.
But the way that your body receives it, it's harmful to you.
And I've told you before that, you know, the Great Pyramid, they think that that may have been designed to be a facility that produced a microwave beam that was used to communicate, or as some sort of microwave beam weapon.
Well, here's the deal. And it's just, but this is not like junk science. This was like shown. Microwave auditory phenomenon it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
And there have been actual experiments on it.
Well, they had to stop again because with the technology that we have, well, supposedly, quote unquote, they stopped about it. But
they never stop. Even if they say they stop, they never stop. Ask all the people involved in MK Ultra. You have to break it up so we don't lose our stream. Ask all those people that were victims of that.
Thank you for that, Josh.
Thank you, Josh Turner.
Josh, that's going into the Mad Scientist Vienna Sausage Fund. It's kind of a singular slush fund that goes for everything. So thank you for that, buddy. We appreciate that, man. So
talking about the microwave auditory hallucination thing. Joe and I read stuff at different times, obviously. I know that a couple months ago you were talking about cavitation a lot.
Yeah, cavitation theory and how that.
I'm getting into cavitation right now, and I'm getting freaked the hell out because I'm thinking about the bends and stuff.
The cavitation is basically what happens when bubbles or voids or vacuums start up in another material. So cavitation theory was going into how different electromagnetic. I know we're getting like super deep, and everybody's just going, "What the hell?" I tuned in to hear about Dogman. That when your cells were agitated due to some sort of like electromagnetic wave, that damage starts to occur. You start to have cavitation that comes up. And I thought that cavitation theory possibly talked about some of when people get zapped, when they claim that they've been zapped by like Bigfoot or Dogman or something like that. I think that that's electromagnetic in nature. And I think that some of the health effects that people suffer afterwards, we may not know what's causing them, and we may not be able to identify all the energy that's being used. There might be stuff that's just beyond the understanding of our science, but some of it might be there that we can understand it. And that's our thing. We may not be able to figure out what the heck it is.
But it's basically like getting the bends on the top side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but using electromagnetic waves instead of pressure.
Paul Emmett asked a question. Do you ever consider a day or dusk investigation just to cover all aspects? Most Bigfoot sightings are actually in the daylight, and the LBL legend happened in daylight or dusk. Couple quick things. Most Bigfoot sightings occur in the daylight is because most people are there in the daylight. To have a Bigfoot sighting, you have to have a Bigfoot that's sighted. You got to have somebody to sight it, and then you got to have somebody to report it to. Most people, even if they're in the woods at night, they're going to be in camp. They're not going to be running around with like infrared cameras and thermals like a couple of idiots like us. But I don't know if that data set is good enough to trust, just because there's some problems with it. We do daytime stuff that stretches into night all the time.
Yeah.
We usually scout areas out during the daytime, and most of the time we're out during the day, into the night, and then into the next day, and then sometimes into that night. But most of the interesting stuff happens at nighttime. So, and that's just all there is to it, for at least for us. Maybe other people are having different stuff. Dusk is probably the hardest time for us to operate in. You get that blue hour where your eyes have trouble focusing.
That's around the time when we try to figure out, especially when we're filming, is when to switch over to our full spectrum camera. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I mean, that's it. We have the hardest time capturing footage at that point as well. So
because it's too dark for the GoPros or for the Sony. It's too dark for that. But then if you switch over to our full spectrum camera, then you still have so much residual UV out there that coming through that the sun is not completely downlit yet. So you still got UV out there. So the image is insanely just pink. So it's completely unusable too.
But we operate them, but I just figured I'd throw that little nugget out at you that even when we're operating during dusk, if something happens, pretty much unless it's on audio, it's going to be very difficult to capture it and share it. But the vast majority of our stuff happens at night. And now lately, even we've been going into some areas blind at night just to see if that heightened uncertainty, if not knowing what's there, that heightened sense of the unknown maybe has an effect
that
and
maybe
like strengthens the activity.
Our
So
fear from not really knowing, because we have that apprehension about, we don't know what's around this corner, what's around this bend, because we didn't pre-scout an area.
Yep.
When we got that thermal a couple of weeks ago, in no, that was in the dark corner, wasn't it? We were in the dark corner. We got that thermal of whatever that was. And actually this week in Bigfoot actually put that on his show. I want to give a shout out to that guy. That's a great show. He put us on the show with that thermal in there. We got a couple of people from that. So, but yeah, we went in there blind, and it was nerve wracking, to be honest.
River Swift said, I wonder if another group is causing interference so you can't get full pictures. I don't know if I don't think another group of people are out there, but like I touched upon before, there's an electromagnetic element that goes along with, I want to say all of this stuff, but let's just say a lot of this stuff. When you look at what happens to people who are having close encounters with UAPs or UFOs, whatever terminology you want to use, and then you look at the immediate after effects and then the medium and long-term after effects, there's not an awful lot of difference between some of those and some of the Bigfoot encounters that people have. Okay. So I think that sometimes, I can't say that the equipment is being messed with purposefully, but it might be, something might be happening in association with this weird phenomenon that just wreaks havoc on the equipment. We're using electronic equipment, okay? And electronic equipment, high EMF fields can have problem with it. Some big static fields. I don't think we've ever felt a static field, although we need to add a static detector. I thought about that the other day. We're eventually gonna go. I wish we had a static detector right now.
Gotcha.
Real K-pop Adventures. Did y'all watch the video I sent you on the Brown Mountain Lights? Do you remember that?
I don't know if I have
sent it to Jessi. Somebody else had asked if we had looked at some pictures they had sent us pulled from one of our videos. We're majorly behind on emails right now.
And I don't know if we're catching up.
We're not rolling the email tonight. We'll start the email back up. I appreciate everybody sending us like stuff, but the YouTube links constantly, we don't really have a lot of time to watch all of that.
Please stop sending us
YouTube links. We're weeks behind on emails at this point. We're so far behind on them. So right now if you have an encounter in our area, get in touch with us.
Yeah. But right now, don't send us YouTube links. Yeah. Right now I'm working on a couple of things. I'm working on getting prepared for this conference in less than 2 weeks. I'm also working on the Equinox documentary that I'm working on. So that takes a lot of time. And we're also going to be doing a thing with small town monsters coming up. I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on. I don't have time to watch YouTube videos. I'm sorry.
So we'll get back to that eventually.
I'm busy with my stuff. So
hey, Ghetto Yeti is in the chat. I hope everything's going okay with your grandmother. You got a lot of people out there praying for you. So you've got a lot of people out there pulling for you. So I'm hoping everything's going well, buddy.
I got a lot of stuff started up. You want
to? Joyce Hayden, can you back off on the power output on the beacon? Yeah, the way the power output is we have 4 electromagnetic motors, basically. It's each 4 different things doing it. I can run 1, 2, 3, or 4, but we usually blast it at 4. So we usually just hit it up. And as you saw on there, hopefully that came through okay. It literally levels the equipment out. It maxes all of our detectors out when we use it. It doesn't emit very far, but that's not the goal of it. The goal is it to be a beacon. It's going to be something weird out there sees or senses and comes up to investigate. It's supposed to draw somebody in. So Phil Stern, welcome to the channel. What are you most afraid of when going out on an investigation?
I think I'm most concerned. I don't know. I think I'm more concerned about the psychic and spiritual damage of things. And I think you're more concerned about the physical damage of things.
I'm more concerned with
me running off a cliff.
You running off a cliff. That's pretty much it. I'm more concerned with you running off a cliff, and then I got to go report it, and then they're going to go, what happened? And I'm going to go, oh, I got the whole thing on video. Don't worry about that.
I did not kill my wife.
And then they're going to be going, why do you have the whole thing on video? And I'm going to go, we do a paranormal YouTube channel, and we were filming, and then they're just going to go, "Oh, you're one of those weirdos, huh? He killed her," and then I'll be going to. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about that, and
it's
then
always the husband.
I am. And then I'm worried about. This is a real world concern, and then sometimes there's a human element involved with all of this. I'm worried about our vehicle getting disabled. Sometimes.
Yeah, I get worried about that too.
Just because this is the real world, and we're using our own vehicles, and all of a sudden our cars. We've got GPS locator beacons. We've got satellite messaging. We can get help, but we still got to go back to work and go to the store. So I worry about our vehicle doing that.
Yeah.
I figure if we ever run into anything like if we're dead out there, we got nothing to worry about at all. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
hey, you guys look for that SD card though.
Find the SD cards. So find the SD cards. All right.
And you can unstar stuff as soon as
That's
you get
fine.
through
So
it.
hey, no, never mind. It's Kentucky Boy had sent that. That's what it was. The email. I have seen that email. We haven't read it yet, Kentucky. So we will look at that. I'll get to that this week here sometime. Marcus Aurelius, no question, just a joke. You still owe Jessi a KOA campground honeymoon. So
You do owe me a honeymoon. Not at a KOA.
not at a KOA. So he followed that up with asking if we'd ever thought about doing a Mothman investigation. Probably. Mothman's like a real hot topic right now. Like a lot of people are looking into it. But I also, as I'm sitting here talking about that, nobody's looking into it like we would.
That's true. That's true.
Now I think I'm talking myself into a Mothman investigation as we said here.
Yeah,
we might do a Mothman investigation in the late winter.
Yeah, let's do it. So you know what? We'll do that. I'll do a Mothman documentary. How about that? You want that? I'll do that too.
Impromptu Truth. What's up, man? Have you given any thought to using a radio-controlled truck fitted with a camera? When we found an entrance into the ground at Station 16 at the LBL, it's an area in the LBL where we found just a field of just bones. Everything from deer, coyote.
It was a trail of bones.
Bovine bones. And
some of them have been broken open, and they were like bovine. So they were thick bones.
The only bovines around there are the bison enclosure, and bison are big, and that's miles away. But anyway, it went into a Evil Dead looking shack on a hill, and then there was an opening in the ground that we thought might lead to a tunnel.
Yeah.
So the plan was we were going to bring a radio controlled truck with a camera and then try to get the radio control down there and investigate it. Instead, we just brought Barton Nunley with us.
And Barton Nunley just
jumped down
in the hole.
So,
oh my God, he just jumped in the hole. And I was like, I went into the Evil Dead cabin, and I'm like, where's Barton? Oh, he's in the hole.
He jumped in the hole.
He's in the hole. I'm like, what?
So we didn't need it. We had Barton Nunley instead. So
we have like a resident tunnel rat. He just jumps right in the hole. So we didn't need the RC car.
I know had a good thing real quick. He goes, I figure this phenomenon is toxic to humans and animals. Again, I always sound like a broken record. If you look at a lot of the stuff coming out with the UAP disclosure, they keep talking about physical effects
of touching them,
of not even exposing them, seeing them, just doing anything.
Yeah.
But the physical effects, and it might not even be malicious. It might just be that something's so alien to us that it's
toxic to us.
Just toxic to us.
I mean, with the Virginia event, you had that.
That's the Brazil event where the soldiers captured supposedly an alien.
One of the soldiers physically captured one of these unknowns. We don't know if they're extraterrestrials or interdimensionals at this point, but captured one of these entities, captured it, grabbed it physically, and it had this sticky ammonia scented substance on it. That guy was dead within 12 to 24 hours. He was dead.
So
something was completely toxic to him.
So the whole thing is that if you grab a fish and you take a fish out of the water onto the shore, the air is not evil. The air is just not conducive to its biological function. Okay. And I think that's what's happening at this point. I don't think that these things are good. I don't think that they're not bad. They might not have our best interests.
They could be completely ambiguous.
They just be ambivalent towards us, but just their very presence.
Ambivalent, sorry, not ambiguous.
And they could be, their presence could be harmful to us. At this point. Same thing with like a lot of these physical cryptids, man. I think a lot of these are evil. I don't think that the gentle forest brother thing is a thing here.
I'm going to
but,
follow
yeah.
up my misuse of words by Patty G saying, thanks, Jessi, for all you do. You're doing a great job.
Doing a great job,
Doing a
Jessi.
great job.
So
Great job.
hold on. This is interesting. Brandon, if you follow some of the Linville Gorge hiking groups, a number of them refer to the 4-footers, little people in the gorge. I'm not joking at all about that, because I've heard stories of little people around the Linville Gorge. I did not know that they were being talked about on hiking groups.
Well, you're right in the middle of Cherokee country. You're looking at Cherokee little people. It fits right in line with the lore.
Well, if you could, we will take an email on this. If you could email us a link and the name of any of these hiking groups, because
that would be very helpful.
We get a lot of our leads from stuff like that. We don't go to like Facebook Bigfoot groups and stuff like that. We go to, and we've talked about this before, we go to hunting forums, overlanders, geocachers, hikers, people that are outdoors a lot. And if you go to any of these groups, there's always going to be that one thread. Has anybody ever seen anything weird in the woods? And then it breaks down into 50% people mocking it, and then 50% people going, yeah, I have. I've solved this. I've seen this. And that's
Brandon has our email already. Brandon does the CNC stuff and the 3D printing.
Reach back out to us and let us know about that. So,
yep. I emailed Brandon back about that.
Richard Coxon said you need to start wearing aluminum foil suits. We actually looked at those hex suits that supposedly blocks your biomagnetic field so you can sneak up on deer and stuff like that. We may eventually look into something like that. Ghetto Yeti read that EM pumps or exposure to high levels of EM radiation will make you really sick. Yes. Think that's what happened, Havana syndrome-esque type reactions. I always talk about how the fact that people talk about infrasound, and damn, every episode I get into this now. So you need to have like a little thing that just flashes up on the screen when I start talking about infrasound. So the stuff that people report experiencing during and after like a supposed infrasound attack doesn't match up with what infrasound is known to produce in the human body. What a lot of it matches up with is exposure to extremely strong electromagnetic fields.
Like I gotta go grab another drink.
All right.
I'm about to cough my
so grab yourself a cough drop too. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself, baby.
But it seems like it matches up with electromagnetic sensitivity. Now, some people are more sensitive to electromagnetic energy than other people. So that's one of the things I always think about is that when you have people that are in groups and one of them, quote unquote, gets zapped and the one right next to them doesn't, is that because it's extremely finely targeted, or is that because some people are just more susceptible to it than others? But again, that goes back to this thing of there's a lot of similarities between people that experience these physical creatures on the ground and these people that are experiencing these strange lights in the sky. The big difference is, though, is that now there are actual government-funded scientists looking at the survivors of UAP encounters, and they're looking at physically what sort of damage or changes have they experienced after their exposure to like an EM to a UAP, to a UFO. There's not a similar study going on for people that experience physical cryptids right now. And I think that if there was, that you would see a lot of similarities between some of these people that have experienced these extremely exotic phenomena on the ground and these people that have experienced UFOs on the ground and the sky. I think that there's a lot of similarities there. It's just that the physical cryptid stuff doesn't have enough pedigree and people don't take it seriously enough. Mostly through the actions of a lot of people in the community, like we talked about earlier. It's not taken seriously enough, so that sort of actual investigation doesn't take place. Again, when he gets right down to it, Jessi and I are just normal people that just have some really strange interests. And if we're really good at anything, it's just the fact that we take a pretty novel approach to a lot of stuff. We don't have the backing of universities or governments, and we don't have specialized training in some really exotic technologies, but there are people out there that do, and they're looking at UAPs. And I hope that as they learn more and more, that gaze kind of travels over to the physical cryptid side of stuff as well. And I think that you see some of that. I think you're starting to see people. That's why it's so good that Skinwalker Ranch is getting so much exposure, because that's weird stuff in the sky, weird stuff in the ground. and they address that. And a lot of that stuff's taboo with like the standard like UFO community. You know, you didn't hear Stanton Friedman talking about Bigfoot sightings. He thought that stuff was ridiculous. But you're starting to get people like Gary Nolan, really established scientists that are starting to go, hey guys, there's a lot more going on here than just possible alien spaceships. That there's a supernatural element to it. There's things that tie into consciousness with the very nature of reality. So hopefully, I can't say probably, but hopefully over the next few years, you're going to see an equivalent of that New York Times story that got the modern UAP wave, you know, started up. That New York Times story that talked about black budgets and black triangles. Maybe one day, and it might not be within the next 5 years, but maybe one day you're going to see a New York Times article about credible evidence leading to the study of the physical stuff that goes on the ground. And I think that if there's any sort of connection, that's going to be eventually a very logical connection for people to make. So.
All right, I'm not dead, I swear.
All right, you're not dead. So I just went on a rant, so that's fine. So
I made some hot
Joe rant.
hot water, honey, and lemon. So that'll help.
Patricia Campino, God, it's got a good thing here. When Jessi was doing that experiment, I had a weird feeling. It was a feeling that I've never had before. It was almost like something otherworldly and evil was about to happen.
That's what it felt like.
That's what it felt like to her. And I'm not really sensitive to stuff like that. I'm pretty dull. I'm a dullard, basically, for stuff like that. I'm not very perceptive as far as things like that go.
You're definitely not perceptive about emotions, female, human, or others. So
mystery to me, just complete mystery to me.
But
when I walked back, the hair on my arms is like standing up. You can feel the air is charged there. Now we tested that thing out at home, and you kind of feel it, but you didn't feel it to that degree.
I've used the beacon before when we do like Estes sessions on.
And you didn't feel it like that.
Though, didn't feel it like that. I felt something weird, but not that the ground underneath me vibrating and hot, and then that was just a weird feeling.
Well, I want to say something right now is that it's the perfect segue to it that we were going to cover it later. The whole idea of the beacon is to see if we can draw something in, something that's already out there. We're putting out novel types of electromagnetic energy to see if we can draw something in that maybe has an association with those things. Well, part of it too is that you might start to get like a feedback loop. It strengthens the beacon strengthens it, and maybe things that would be barely noticeable will be strengthened somehow, and we'll be able to document it. Now, there's some dangers that go along with that, and we might have experienced some of those dangers this past weekend.
I think we did. I'm honestly, because I don't think I've ever had the reaction that I had.
If I wasn't so hesitant to always draw parallels between stuff that you're taking on a leap of faith, I would say that's definitely what happened. I don't usually I don't have allergies like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could see if maybe we just both had a sore throat. Well, you know, stuff like that's contagious. You know, you caught it, I caught it. But I woke up, I thought I had left my contacts in because I was super tired when we got home. So I'm gently kind of looking around my contacts. I'm like, my contacts aren't in. I take my contacts out every night. And then it cleared up over the course of the day. You know what I'm saying? So it was just very strange.
I feel better today than I felt for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But, you know, and even coming home from that area, just the drive home was insanely mentally taxing. Like everything was mentally taxing. It was very rough.
Yeah. Guys, would it kill you to hit the like button?
Yeah, hit that like
kill button. You? We're out there dealing with unknown forces on the side of the mountain, and the last thing,
we're dying.
All you can ask for is just a little like every once in a while, man. Just a little validation.
Here we are dying.
I ain't even getting into Todd Standing tonight. Because y'all get brutal with Todd Standing.
Yeah, y'all are rough, and
y'all are rough with Todd Standing.
Y'all
man.
set us off, and then we say things we regret.
I'm like waiting for like the lawsuit from Todd Standing when people were talking about Buffalo Bill and just good God.
If you want to hear the funniest crap you've ever heard, where us in the chat talk about Todd Standing, there's an episode titled "The One Where Jessi and Joe Lose It," because
it just goes off, man. I'm praying that he never sees that.
Yeah.
So
he contacted me again after that, and I'm like, he really doesn't watch any of our stuff.
He don't watch any of our stuff because he would not be contacting us.
He would not be contacting me if he watched any of this crap. Oh yeah. Honey and lemon and hot water is where it's
There
at.
you go, kid.
There we go.
So, all right, what else we got? What else we got here? That was done. That was done.
Ivan Ramirez says, I have bigger cojones than he does. Oh,
sorry. You can put that up.
Okay.
Sugi made it into the chat.
Sugi.
Sugi.
She lives.
She lives. Have you ever thought about using those
Shungite
RMF blockers on your camera and any equipment that seems affected during hunts? Or would that screw with the EMF detector in close proximity? We couldn't use it on the EMF detector, but we could use it on the cameras. The only problem is that you'd have to have the lens. That's something we might experiment around with. I'm wondering if you could get like you have those like bags that block out like RF and static and all that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could jury rig one up. The only problem would be getting it around the lens. The only problem would be getting it around the microphone. I run a separate microphone. I'm brainstorming it right now live, but we might look into that, Sugi. It's a good idea.
Do it live.
It's a good idea. So Marcus Aurelius again, man. Have to send you our tax information, Marcus. You write her off. Was your grandma or your mom a healer of the old school Appalachian type healers and psychics? Let me address that. So
my mom ain't healing nothing.
Your mom ain't healing nothing. But
my mom can actually do. My mom does divination.
But
it's goofy as she is. She does do divination.
We're from like the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, different parts of it. I'm up from here, West Virginia. She's from like Western North Carolina. And in some of these areas, there are these people called granny witches. Now, they're not witches. They don't worship the devil or anything like that. They're basically like the healers of the area because there's no medical care. Okay. Now, that's decreased in modern times, but it's still a thing in some of these areas. You know, you still find people. It's based off Christianity. It's not, they're not summoning demons or anything like that, but they're basically like healers and stuff like that. They're very spiritual people. But Jessi's, is it your great aunt, your great aunt, or great?
It's like my great aunt was Aunt Bet Mall.
And then she was Aunt Bet Mall. She was this famous.
She spoke to crows.
Spoke to crows, and he was a healer. And she lived on top of this mountain. And the shtick is that you would have to go up the mountain to get her if somebody needed help. And then when you would get up the mountain, finally, she'd be sitting on her front porch waiting for you, going, "Oh, did Johnny break his leg?" "Yes, ma'am." And then you would leave. And then by the time you got back down to the mountain, bottom of the mountain, she'd be sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah.
That was like the jam. So yeah,
that was the first time Joe came up to meet my family. My aunt Vicky told Joe about Aunt Bet Mall.
And I'm just sitting there going, that makes sense.
And she goes, "Joe, she ever tell you about all our witches in our family?"
Yeah, so they're not like Salem witches. Ain't nobody getting burned at the stake. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like religion based. But if you're not familiar with it, just look up Appalachian granny witches. It's like a good thing. But yeah, that's all up in her family. They're weird. They're weird like that. Tracy Crane, thank you.
Tracy Crane.
Y'all are awesome. A new favorite channel, UFO for sure. Thank you for that, Tracy. So we greatly appreciate it.
I'm trying to read.
Damn, I'm behind, man.
I'm
trying. So
hey, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you hit that.
Make sure you still subscribed.
Like. Yeah.
People get unsubscribed all the time. So Cheryl Shanks said she's going to ask about small town monsters. Yeah, we were going to be taking part in. We were always hesitant to talk about it. And then Seth just like, "Oh yeah, we're doing it with Help and Holler." So the cat's out of the bag.
That's how he is.
Yeah.
It's like, should we talk about this?
Yeah, I own the company. I'm going to talk about it. Why not?
So
we'll be doing some LBL stuff with small town monsters.
Yeah.
And we've got some other cool stuff in the works. Our whole idea is to try to get our perspective out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Instead of, because I think we take a pretty open-minded perspective on stuff and try to share our perspective with people. And I think it's going to happen. Our buddy Brian from Down Under wants a knife check.
Knife check.
So,
all right.
I've got Cold Steel Immortal, which is just basically a dagger type blade.
Looks like a tiny little gladius sword.
Like a tiny gladius sword. That is what I'm carrying.
I got a new knife this week that I'm super stoked about. I'm very excited about it. It was a hard to find limited edition knife that my buddy actually got it. and then he wanted to sell it. So I was like, I will buy it, please. So I was really excited about this. It is a Turner CNC. That's the guy who made it, is Turner CNC. La Bruja. So the design is by Ed Calderon of Ed's Manifesto.
Ed Calderon is an Mexican federale who fought the cartels in Mexico, who has done like escape and evasion training, knife fighting training. He's got a whole knife fighting style. Fascinating dude. If you ever want to hear about like what's going on with like the cartels in Mexico from like first person like standpoint, amazing dude. And he's like a lethal knife guy. Yeah. It's amazing. So
his main knife that he uses is the Elvia. This is the counterpart to it. This is the La Bruja, which is the witch. And it's got that limited edition. Look at that finish, that heat treat finish on that. That's beautiful. It is a beautiful knife. Came with a cool little sheath, but that is a very wicked little blade there. That is a killer. That is a gutter right there. So I was so excited to get that. This is part of my wild ass knife collection.
Wild ass knife collection. Jessi's wild ass. That should be a second channel you do called Jessi's wild ass knife collection.
Because I like these wild ass knives.
And that should be the intro to it. I just like these wild ass knives. So
I'm a street walking Cheeto at a heart full of napalm. But
Alan Howell, that 1.6 gig thing can affect your tech. Yes, it can.
Apparently.
And what's crazy is that has been documented in a couple of different separate cases. We were documented after seeing that light picking up. Now I was picking up like a 1.58 to about a 1.61, 1.62 signal. I didn't have the best instrumentation at that moment. We have since
improved that.
Well, because one of them got burned out, remember? So when we were at that cemetery up in the Uwari and our equipment started going crazy, and one piece of equipment went so crazy it never worked again. That was our spectrum analyzer. So now I have a new improved spectrum analyzer that is much more sensitive and it has better range, just all around better. So, but yeah, multiple people had picked up that 1.6 gigahertz signal. And damn, I got to address this. Daniel Calabrese, I tell you what, I got aliens living in my yard. How would you get rid of them? A, how do you know they're aliens? B, when you say living in your yard, they're like 24/7, or they're just showing up all the time?
Are they in a tent?
Yeah.
They got a shack out there.
You need to be a little bit more, give us a little bit more info. That's for 411 future candidates, portals. I forgot that's what we put up last week.
Yeah.
So,
I got one here.
What do you got? Lay it on me.
Azrael Darkheart, sorry, I'm still blind. Nocturnal Investigation says, using the beacon after Maven didn't help. The veil seems to be thinner than normal earlier every year. We felt a significant change around the equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in like the weather or anything like that. We felt a shift. A personal shift.
We both discussed it, that we just felt that something was
changed,
different. Yeah,
something like a shift. I don't know what it was pivoting towards or away from, or what's happening. We're trying to interpret that right now, and I think that feeds into also, what are we doing with this channel? What are we doing with this whole project? We're kind of,
because we were like quitting.
Yeah,
we were quitting. If Alan Lassiter's in there, you can ask Alan Lassiter. I was just like, we're going to continue the investigations. I just don't think, if we just did the investigations and we didn't have the public aspects of this, like on YouTube, this would be easier.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier.
We would get more done, and we could focus our efforts completely on the stuff we want to try. Now, real quick, using the beacon after Maven didn't help. We used it on the solstice.
No, we didn't use it on the equinox.
On the equinox, I'm sorry. On the equinox. I misspoke.
Get it together, Joseph.
Get it together, Joseph. We used it on the equinox. We just didn't do that live because of the area we were in. But we used it on the equinox, and we had something really weird happen.
And I'm worried that we did something.
Because we came back going, now this is a double-edged sword. You don't want to get so wrapped up in it, your mind runs away.
Takes those routes.
But you also want to pay attention to your intuition during this, and pay attention to what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So it's a tightrope you have to walk. But we used it on the night of the equinox, and all I can say is there's a reason why we're going down this path with this piece of tech now. And a lot of times we'll try something and it doesn't work, and we shelve it for a little while and come back to it. We're expanding the stuff with the beacon at this point. You're going to see it. It's going to be like a signature piece of ours right now, because I legit think
it's doing something.
I don't know what. I jokingly, I think it was the Deucer that I messaged going, if we don't open up a hellmouth tonight, I'll text you in a couple of days then. And jokingly saying that, I don't think we're doing that, but I think we're getting something's attention. We're getting something's attention.
Something, yeah, for sure. And
it's something that's been there that is interacting. We're getting something's attention.
It's looking at us.
We're getting something's attention.
And one bad thing about us is also too that we're not going to stop doing it.
People go, something's going to happen, and I'm going, we understand that. You know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do. But that's the problem too, is we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going forward with these experiments and keep trying stuff. And because, I mean, we can't stop, I guess.
People kind of keep going. You're going to get, and I'm not saying that we got a friend in North Carolina that we've referred to before. We call him Death Wish, because we're going, you're crazier than hell. You're going to die like one night out here doing this. We're not to that level. But at the same token, you can't get a glimpse of this stuff and then just stop looking into it.
Yeah.
You can't get a glimpse of this stuff.
Once you pull back the curtain.
And then you're just late. So what we're going to take, I'm going to build model trains. Is that what I'm going to do? And I'm going to be at home with my model trains going, I wonder what's going on in the woods right now at this moment. You know, that's okay. I got to glue these little trees to the ground, you know? So, all right.
Everybody's telling you not to piss me off with my new knife.
Roid rage and a new knife. It's a bad combination for me. I just want to let everybody know that I am not suicidal. I'm in good health, other than this little bug that I've had. I am not the risk taker in the woods. You guys all know that. If Jessi comes back next Monday and I'm not here and she goes, I don't know what happened to him.
He fell down a cliff.
He just ran off into the woods. It was the strangest thing. None of that is true. I want my death investigated. So I want my death investigated. Just two normal, everyday, average people. Just a normal dude.
Just normal people.
Just normal people.
I have so much trouble with my day job, like kind of talking to people about something.
I don't even hide it anymore, man. So I don't even.
People ask me what I do, and I'm like, well, and they're like, what? Yeah, it ain't good.
Spilling tea with Spunky Spark. Best name ever. I'm dull too, Joe. I wish it weren't that way. I just don't have any insight. I don't have any, like, if you ask me to, hey Joe, I'm going to flip a coin, guess it. I ain't guessing right. That's all there is to it, man. I don't have any of that. But at the same token,
Joe don't want to throw them coins.
Occasionally I will have moments where I just go, I'm being watched. You know, I just feel it. I can feel that sort of stuff pretty good. There've been a couple of times that we've been out and we've been filming that I've just gone, I don't know what's going on, but we're like in legit physical danger right now. I just feel like something's getting ready to go down. But
I got one here from Sherry Griffey. She says,
hey,
it's a
Sherry.
message from David Hawley of Timberline to Help It Holler. I'm medically out for good. Thank you for your friendship. Timberline Group is now turned over to Quartz Griner. Best of luck. So,
Dave, if you're watching this, I hope you are okay.
I hope Dave's okay. Yeah.
I'm not on social media that much, so I don't really see a lot of the stuff that goes down. Quartz is the dude, though, man. Quartz is like the man. That's.
But you know,
I hate that that's happened. If
good thoughts for David.
Yeah,
Holly.
I hope you're okay, man. I'll reach out to Quartz when we get off of this and see what's going on. But I'm sorry to hear that, David.
Yeah. Hopefully it's like the Godfather. He tries to get out and it just pulls him back in.
Yeah. The science division of Helmet Holler. Joe, I dare you to put 2 super magnets in high salinity water and run an opposing charge through it, just because of science. So, all right, let me hide that and go. I'm like insanely behind here real quick.
That's okay. I can barely read because my vision is so blurry.
Paul's got a good thing here. Do you remember about 15 to 20 years ago when the power company came out with a new electric meter mountain on your house? People were complaining they were hallucinating, seeing things. I never heard of that.
No, I haven't either.
No, I've never heard of that before. That is, can you write that down on your little note list? Electric meters hallucinations. So Yeti's got a good idea. The beacon was possibly interacting with the quartz, water, and various metals in the earth there. Possibly magnetic phenomenon coupling, creating sonic resonance that affected the ground and y'all too.
Jesus.
Possibly it just
Super science and sorcery.
Super science and sorcery. But the Thundar approach, the Thundar the Barbarian approach.
Not today. Saban is leaving.
Y'all ticked off Catherine Gay. She's mentioned Mike several times. Come on, guys. Dead End Yard Haunt.
Oh, yes.
I have to present this.
I'm taking this down, though, because I don't want that on the screen.
Deadhead and Yard Haunt sent us something just in time for Halloween.
Mail call. Time for the Hellbent Holler mail call. I want to make a graphic. Whoosh, mail call.
Do you want to put it on, or do you want to just show it? Let me just show it.
You want me to put it on?
You want to put it on?
I can put it on.
All right, it's going underneath the table.
It's not lingerie.
Don't lift it up. Don't lift it up.
It's not lingerie.
Get your minds out of the gutter.
Hang on. Let me get out of here. Hang on. Let's get the real stuff out of the way. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Dead End Yard Haunt.
Dead End Yard Haunt just came through. She called me up. I'm at work. She's like, Dead End Yard Haunt sent us something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I'm like, oh, you've got to tell me. And I'm like, she's like, no, I'll just let you see it when you get home.
It has braids.
It's a werewolf mask with blue hair and braids, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. You got to do the entire show.
Are the instructions over there?
What's that?
Are the instructions over there?
Yes, the instructions are in the box. The instructions are handwritten. Instructions how to use low-tech tools. That is Jessi with a hook on her in the mask and a dogman approaching. Joe is, remember Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom?
No.
Never remember? Because
I'm a child.
You're a child. Marlon Perkins would be safe back at the Hilltop Fortress. Meanwhile, Jim's upstream, and Jim's like upstream wrestling baboons and stuff like that. So I'm doing the Marlon Perkins with the fishing rod, trying to catch Jessi. So there you go. Thank you for that, Dead End Yard Haunt. That'll see some use.
Look at the detail on this thing.
It's insane.
It's got lipstick. Like, it has lipstick. Blue hair. That's why he commented earlier, I wish you would have told me you were changing her hair.
Yeah, trust me about it. We got that right after she had changed her hair, and she was just like, oh my God.
You know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to order a mask stand, and this is going to go in my office on the shelf. This is so beautiful. Like, it's honestly beautiful. It's got pointy ears.
So
it's beautiful, and I really appreciate it. And I almost died when I opened it. I almost had a conniption fit because it's so amazing. Like, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Ever gotten. So they're talking about small town monsters. Seth and Alex Petikoff are both great guys, do a great job with their docs. So it'll be awesome to see you guys with them. We've been talking about getting out with Alex for a couple times. He's come down in this area a few times, and we could just never arrange the schedule because it was kind of a last minute thing. But it will be interesting to get out. It'll be cool to get out with Alex Petikoff out into the field. And our friend Aaron Dees, who just wrote the Texas Dogman Triangle book, is going to be down there as well. And I don't care what he says, but I'm grabbing Aaron one night and throw in a backpack, man. We're going out deep into the LBL.
Oh my God.
He's going to have a freaking ball.
You want some good TV. That's going to be it right there.
Lolo, welcome to the channel. I'm just going to from Paranormal Roundtable. Like you mentioned, Josh was kind enough to do the little plug before we hopped on tonight.
Cheryl Singh said, my time, Joe, Wild Kingdom. Jason Broussard said, more realistic than Todd Standing.
Marcus Aurelius, 10 millimeter check. Be cool, YouTube. It's just a survival tool.
Yeah.
But,
oh, God. Everybody loves that mask.
Everybody loves what?
Loves my mask.
Oh, yeah, man. So, what is...
Deuster talking about those meter things. The new style electric meters they installed on homes years ago transmitted a signal to the electric distributor. I'm sorry. I cannot read. My vision's so blurry. It was suspected the radio transmissions cause hallucinations.
Huh. Never heard of that before. And here it just goes to show, no matter how much you read on it, And no matter how much you dive into it.
My vision's blurry from my medication, and I'm like having to get really close to reading.
Let me just, I'll read them.
She can't read, Joe.
Penny Van. Mabon is like the term for the fall equinox.
That's the Wiccan term for it. The term came around the 1960s.
What was his name? What's that dude who did all of the modern like Wiccan stuff?
Well, the guy that came up with that term is kind of he's kind of like exiled from the Wiccan world. You know, they still keep some of his stuff, but they don't because he gave away some secrets that he wasn't supposed to.
Ah, crazy. We're not Wiccans, by the way. That'll be next week. We'll be pagan. We'll be, what do they call us? Pagan
scumbags.
Pagan liberal scumbags.
Pagan
you know. Now it'll be their witches. I'm telling you. So.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see.
I ain't into hedge witchery.
Hedge witchery.
I ain't into it.
Ain't riding around on a broom. Where is? Okay. So hold on. Here we go. Linda Dickerson said, when you use the red lights, I'm thinking she's talking about our last live stream. I kept seeing forms avoiding the lights, but when I backed up, I couldn't find them. Anyone else notice? What? We did not see that to the naked eye, but at the same token,
we're also trying to keep from falling and
we're also focusing on that and the equipment where our attention's really all over the damn place. So
it's very chaotic when we do those.
Yeah.
It is very chaotic when we do those.
Quinn Montoya. And the LBL, it was strange. The lightning strike meter went off. 4 to 6 minutes followed by 4 to 6 miles, followed by the entity run from the abandoned tent to tent. Keep up the great work. Mm-hmm. The lightning meter, we're still trying to get a grasp on. And people will go, oh, it's heat lightning. And we're going, it's not heat lightning, man. I mean, this thing isn't picking up lightning like 100 miles away. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's lightning, and we're not hearing thunder where there's no storms in the area. Sometimes it's just going off. So that's still something that we're trying to get a handle for on how that's relating to the weird crap that we're out there looking for. So
I'm just running it.
Yeah.
I'm just running it to see what I get, just to see if there's any kind of consistencies between things. If I get like a strike on it and then something happens, or if we experience something and then there's an alert on it, we don't know. We're just trying to get it to see if we can find some correlation between stuff.
Damn, Marcus, man, good Lord. We're gonna have to when we get our next piece of equipment, that is going to be the Marcus Aurelius, like, you know how they name like wings of hospitals after donors and everything like that, man. So,
I want to get like a kayak, and then we can call it the SS Marcus Aurelius.
The SS Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord Almighty. All right, that might happen. Bigfoot, then Dogman. Is there another cryptid on the horizon that you're interested in investigating?
Because I want a kayak. I want to go to the LBL and take a kayak and do go to those areas we can't really access by vehicle or by foot. We can kayak, take the water route. So the SS Marcus Aurelius could be deployed.
Is there another cryptid on the horizon? Two things. We've been looking into that area with the Cherokee Little People. Whether that's what's up there or not, I don't know. The other thing that we haven't really done a deep dive into yet is that area where the couple had that laughing creature, the laughing beast that we call it.
Yeah.
And the husband is native. He's from this area. He's been in that area his entire life. He's just like, it's not a Sasquatch. It's something else. So I don't know what that is, but we have been kind of approaching that area kind of cautiously for some reason. We don't even know why.
Because it's scary.
It's scary as hell. But that'll be our next big.
Plus, a part of that too is also every time we go there, the bug situation
is so loud.
It's a very audio intense investigation because we've heard the sound. We've heard it with our own ears of the howling and the yelling in the distance. So we need to go out there when we don't have so many bugs to mess up our audio recordings, because I want to get a great audio recording.
Well, we heard great stuff that first night we were there, and it was crazy. And we're getting your reaction, but when we tried to play back the audio, you can barely hear it. All you hear is bugs. And then by the time you filter the insect noise out, it's degraded.
It's so beat up.
It's so beat up that nobody's going to, it's just not, if I heard it, I would just go, it's pretty meaningless. So we're going to go back into there. That's going to be the area we go back into. Is we're going to do a night investigation on foot
What?
Just started in yard hunt. You'll get so much dogman tail, you'll need a donkey to carry them all out of the woods. For you new people, the donkey, there's certain reoccurring themes here. There's the hellbent helicopter,
Helicopter.
the hellbent barge, because we're going to have a barge.
Cocaine Dogman.
Cocaine Dogman, which came out.
Stingray's not in here today.
Stingray's not in here today, but the cocaine, you hear Cocaine Dogman.
And we need a donkey.
And we need a donkey.
Yeah, I think we are going to, we might look into some Mothman stuff.
Yeah, I think we should do Mothman in the winter.
We're going to do Mothman in the winter.
We're not going to say when we do it. We'll say after we do it. But 86 is asking, what's a lapping beast? There's an area where we got contacted at by this couple that told us about an area that they had gone to. We live in South Carolina. And South Carolina, if you look online, does not factor very heavily with strangeness. Okay. There's some like hauntings, there's some stuff down near the coast, but you don't hear a lot of the other stuff about it. But North Georgia and Western North Carolina, which are on either end of where we live at, have tons of reports. And I think it just it's fed into by the culture here. People here don't talk about it. They don't call up the BFRO or their local newspaper when this stuff happens. It's kind of just taken as a matter of course. So when we did our first, living in South Carolina, we'd never done a lot of stuff in South Carolina. We've always traveled to North Carolina or Tennessee or Kentucky or Georgia. We got a report and we went and checked something out in South Carolina itself. And the floodgates opened up, man. Just the amount of people that were just like, oh my God, you're doing this in South Carolina. Let me tell you about what happened. And one of the ones that stood out to us was a lady who talked about an area that she and her husband went into, that she's going, if you go there, you're going to experience something strange. There's Bigfoot there. And then she goes, there's something else there. We were there one night. Her husband's not necessarily weirded out by the Sasquatch, but this thing that laughs, it laughs in the tree line and then came busting towards them. They panicked and got out of there. So she didn't have a name for it. We just called it the laughing beast because they're talking about beasts that are there and this thing is laughing. So it's the laughing beast. And I'm like, so is it a Bigfoot? And she goes, no, my husband's pretty read into this stuff. He knows what's going on there. He says it's something different and that we're not supposed to mess with it and we need to get out when we hear it. We haven't heard laughing there yet, but when we got into this area.
As soon as we got into the area, we started hearing this
and
howling and yelling.
And our camera immediately turned off. I have a GoPro hooked up to a backup power source. We get out of the car, we're filming, we hear this howling and the screaming, and the camera goes down. And we had to swap out cameras. And the camera worked fine when we got home, but that camera was done. So we went down in there and we heard weird howling and screaming. We did not hear laughing. We've not heard laughing yet.
I'm kind of nervous to hear the laughing.
Kind of nervous to hear the laughing at this point, but that is somewhere that when it gets a little colder,
we'll be down there.
We'll be down there.
JFA says, hello, can you give me your honest opinion on these pale crawlers? Do you think they are terrestrial cryptid or do you believe they're biologically engineered? Never heard of these creatures or dogman, at least until the last 3 years. I don't have an opinion on the pale crawlers.
I have an opinion on them. Imagine that. I think that people will tell you that they're a new phenomenon and that they were basically made up. It's like a creepypasta thing. It's born on Reddit. That's all it is. It's not the case in the slightest. There are constant cases of these small, spindly, bone-white creatures.
Like goblins.
Goblins that seem to come from subterranean areas. You have the moon-eyed people in our area. You have the the Hopkinsville goblins. Okay. You have the Dover demon. You have some areas, the description of ghouls matches up with this. These pale,
why did you gesture towards me?
Well, you know, if the ghoul shoe fits, wear it. But I think that these are a phenomenon that stretch back. I think that if anything is subterranean, it's these things. Okay. Now, of course, we got to add something into that. We mentioned earlier we were on Paranormal Roundtable last week. And the idea of maybe that there are portals that only open and close underground. Was it Anthony that came up with that? So
yeah, I think so.
That because of the mineral radiation and just the electromagnetism that occurs underground, that maybe some portals are easy to open underground. That was something
because it's the right conditions.
That was something that the Paranormal Roundtable guys came up with, and I'm fascinated with that because I've never thought of that before.
It's a cool theory.
So maybe there's a crossover between interdimensional things coming here, but they only come here via underground. They appear underground and then they come out of the caves. So they're coming out of the caves. They're just not there all the time.
They're coming out of the caves.
Coming out of the caves. But I think that they exist. I think that pale crawlers and rakes and all of that are just some modern terminology for things that have been going on forever. So
Daniel Calabrese wants to know if you ever owned a strip club.
no, I have never owned a strip club. Who wanted to know?
Would I be doing this?
If I owned a strip club, would I be doing this? So
sorry, I mean a cough drop.
Brian wants to know, we're going to go back to the Laughing Beast. We will be going back when it gets colder. And there are some other things that are.
We might have some help for that too.
Might have some help for that. We might actually.
We might be calling in the big boys.
The cavalry might be coming in for that. So, Carol Edwards, does it sound like a hyena or a human? I asked that same question, and she said that it sounds like it doesn't sound fully like a hyena, but it doesn't sound fully like a human. But it's a laughing sound, and she says it's terrifying, and that they will be down there, but they won't. We're going to see if they'll meet it. And if you're listening right now, we've been meaning to contact you and get back. We're behind doing it. They volunteered to meet us there, but they won't be there past dark.
Yeah.
And that you can tell it's made a huge impression. Now, again, we have not heard that yet. We may never hear it. Who knows? But
I dread the day.
She told us that we were going to hear stuff as soon as we got out of the car, and we waited a while to go. And just in case, you always have to go. Somebody trying to hoax us. Mm-hmm. And then we just randomly went one time, and we literally heard something as soon as we got out.
It was wild.
It was wild. So
Michael Chun said, cross paths with any coyotes. There used to not be any in North Carolina, but there are now.
We've heard coyotes before, but you can tell and coyotes sound weird, but you can tell coyotes sometimes. Mm-hmm. Some of the stuff we're hearing is not coyotes.
No. Tennessee Outlaw. Hey, Joe, Jessi. If you use a canoe, you could cover it with a duck blind, like set up. Also, I talked to the neighbors in Virginia, and you and I were correct. I think we were anyway.
Ha-ha.
Ha-ha.
Ha-ha. That is a great idea with the canoe. Great idea in the canoe. I'm not going to go into what he's talking about, but
some subtext
there. If he wants to bring it up, he can bring it up. But it's something that we had discussed offline here. So, all right, keep on.
Daniel Calabrese, have you ever watched any of our channel? The madness that you have driven me to.
Daniel Calabrese.
Joe, try and find a way to be able to film your hunts live. There's got to be something.
Daniel, we go through this every damn week.
Every week, Daniel, we go over this. Daniel.
We don't
have signal.
We don't have signal. We're in an area that there's no cell signal. We're 10 miles to the nearest gravel road, and then it's another 20 miles to the nearest paved road in some of these areas.
You know what? Screw it. I'm doing an investigation in a Buc-ee's parking lot from now on.
And then we're going to stream it. But we don't have signal there. We have to carry satellite communicators because we can't call for help.
Yeah, just so we can get out of there.
When we live stream to you guys from some of these areas, it's only because a very smart man by the name of Steve Causey, and I linked his book earlier, built us a cell signal booster that is 20 feet up in the air sometimes, okay, because to try to catch a cell signal, and that only works in high elevations, and we can't move that far away from it. And it's pixelated as all get out, but it's the best we can do. The areas we go to, there's no campgrounds near there. There's no homes near there. There's no cell service. There's no cell signal. There's no hiking trails, where a lot of times we're on old abandoned forestry roads that have been shut off for decades, or game trails. So we can't do all the investigations live. The live investigations that we did do was we basically did a ghost hunt at that haunted house that time. And we even said, there's like houses like a mile away, even then we had a little difficulty with it, but we just don't have signal where we're at. So we have to send satellite text messages periodically to let people know that we're alive.
That we're not dead.
So
still not dead. That's what I should have it say.
Okay, Bob. What do you think about the claims of giant spiders such as the Jabé Fofi?
that was acceptable.
I speak Congolese in the Congo, and a man claiming to see a giant spider while fishing on the banks of the Missouri River. I'm not familiar with the Fishing story. I am familiar with the Jebe Fufi and the Congo. I am familiar with the stories in Louisiana about some of the army bases down there and how they apparently had problems with giant spiders in the woods surrounding them. What do I think about them? I try not to, because everybody's got to draw the line somewhere.
Giant spiders.
Giant spiders is, before it was just UFOs, that if stuff was in the air around us, I was done. After the portal sighting or whatever we had, I'm a little flexible on that. But giant spiders, we're done.
We keep running into the Juro spiders out in the woods in North Georgia.
Chinese spiders that have like landed here.
They're like parachute spiders.
They're huge.
They can travel 50 to 100 miles on the wind. But apparently they're decimating the stink bug
and the yellow jacket
population, which is pretty good. But they are wild. They're like this big. They are giant spiders, and they're terrifying. And they build their nests. They're not even webs, because it's like multi-layers of webs across where we walk sometimes. So,
But a goshawk is in here. Does anybody out there have any audio recordings of the laughing beasts? I have talked about this in a while. I haven't talked about it in a while, but years ago I was on because again, we go to hunting forums, all these other things, like I mentioned earlier, to look for weird stuff. And in one of those, anybody ever hear or see anything weird threads, I came across some guys talking about what basically sounded like oversized hyenas. And they were just talking very matter of fact about it. And that they would come across these hyena type things. And one guy claimed that his brother had killed one, but putting two together, it sounded like his brother was poaching and didn't want to report anything. That he shot it and killed it, burned it and buried it. And they were just discussing these hyenas. Two guys were discussing it, and then another guy joined the conversation. And obviously, being into weird stuff, that perked my ears up. And you occasionally run across these reports of these hyena-like creatures. They're not on two legs. They're usually on four legs. The laughing thing is very common with these stories. They're usually not encountered in singles. They're usually at least 3 or 4 of them. They're usually encountered by hunters, but that seems to be very exclusive to this part of the Appalachians. And then there's some sections in Oklahoma that seem to have them happen. It's something that's not talked about a lot. And I'm familiar with the Shunkawarakan. If you're not familiar with that, look it up out west in Oklahoma. But I have never been able to find a recent sighting of one or somebody who's having current activity on there. One guy contacted me one time after a live stream and said that he was having activity around his property on there, and then he just ghosted me and he went quiet. So I don't know if that was legit or if that was fake. That might be what's going on here with the laughing beast. It's in an area that they swear Sasquatch are in. It's in an area where we've heard some weird stuff. It's in an area where other weird stuff has gone on that people have, like encountering kids in the woods that they don't seem to know how they got there. And the kids are very insistent that people give them a ride. But yet, even though it's a kid, they feel strange about it and they just want to get away. And every single person I've gone, did you see the eyes? Oh, they just look like normal eyes, because that ties in with black-eyed children. Let me in. You've got to give me a ride somewhere. But I don't know if that's going to be the case here or not. But the laughing has got me intrigued, but we're a little weirded out.
Nut Slap loves my edited videos, by the way. Nut Slap.
You have the Nut Slap seal of approval, ma'am.
Slap that nut seal of approval on there. So I agree with you. I like my edited videos too. The lives are okay. They're frustrating sometimes. I don't want to look at the chat sometimes.
I don't want to do lives all the time. As a matter of fact, if we never did another live again, I would not mind.
Another live investigation.
If somebody would like to send us a Starlink satellite phone that we can somehow stream onto the internet with, and we'll pay that monthly bill, we will do so. But I'm not going to bankrupt us in every other aspect in order to be able to do that with
to
this.
Give you a live.
Because I swear to God, if I did that and somebody went, it's a little too pixelated, I would just I'd lose my shit. I'd burn all the equipment. I'd rip this Hellbent Holler thing down. I would take all the patches, burn it all. We would never talk about it. And we would get into model trains then. We'd come back with a model train channel,
Choo choo.
Choo choo choo. So,
yeah.
Remote areas are called remote for a reason.
There was a guy on the live investigation. He was like, dog shit signal. I'm like,
oh, good Lord. Yeah. And I'm just going.
I'm on the side of a mountain, you piece
We
of
went
shit.
on late. We thought we were going to be on hours ahead of time. But what happens is that there's an old network of forest roads up there. Okay. So we're not 20 miles away from the vehicle. We ain't 100 yards away from the vehicle either. So it's run equipment up, leave it, come back, run equipment up. And then when some stuff gets up there, one of us has to stay there while the other one keeps hauling equipment up because we had a bunch of crap that night.
Oh yeah.
And
They
then
set up all these tripods.
And then we couldn't get a clear signal to do anything for some reason. The tower we piggybacked off of before, we couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. So it was so frustrating. And then we got on there, and I know it's just YouTube, and I know it's people don't know any better, but
Dick Ball
damn
64.
it, man. Dick Ball 64 is
Gets up
going,
on
oh,
there.
it's a little pixelated. So
I'm about to pixelate your face. How about that one? We about quit this weekend.
we were done, man. I was done.
After that live, we about quit.
I was done.
We did have a serious conversation about, all right, so we need to just sell all the equipment
And just get out.
and just get out. Go take a vacation.
We've got jackballs trying to get our channel suspended, hitting us with fake accounts all the time.
Yeah.
We address that, and we've got people going, oh, you shouldn't get involved in drama. You know what I'm saying? So,
Dead in Yard Hunt says a donkey could make.
What is you gotta put the comment up.
You know,
A donkey would make one trip hauling it all. So that is a fear of mine, is that you are going to go to the P.O. box
And there's a freaking
and they're going to
there's a
go,
note that says
please see postmaster. And then he's going to go, we've been feeding this damn donkey all week.
Please come and get your donkey.
Yes. All right.
No, nobody should troll Joe to see if he gets pissed, because I'm gonna tell you something right now. We'll stop doing this altogether, and then
You don't know how many times I nearly quit. I mean, it's crazy.
we'll just go take vacations. Joe owes me a honeymoon. I never got a honeymoon or a wedding. So
We went and did a damn investigation after we got married. That's
Yeah,
no
so-
lie. That's no. It's depressing in a way to think about. So anyway.
Yeah. Katie Church, giving the gospel here, my text messages. So
Okay, here's a good one. Thad Brown. Hey, you two. What are your thoughts on the interaction in LBL between Bigfoot and Dogman?
So in Martin Grove's story from his hunting trip in 1993, it sounds like they're working in tandem.
Well,
There's always been this thing where people say, well, the Dogman is in the north and the Bigfoot is in the south and they are enemies to the end. But I don't think that's
What's that based on? Where are the
Bullshit.
credible witness statements going? I was in the middle of the peninsula and I came upon this Sharks versus Jets gang
there was
fight. Snapping, switchblades.
There's a pirouette.
I always talk about the thing that grinds my gears,
Here he goes.
grinds my gears, is the Disneyfication of all of this stuff. It's that people want it to be a certain way, so that's how they view it. And that's cool. Everybody has biases. Everybody has predetermined notions. That's cool. I understand that. Not everybody second guesses themselves into paralysis like I do. Trying to make sure that I'm trying to take as unbiased of a look at something as possible. But it just sounds like that's something somebody made up and ran with it. Okay.
Yeah.
We caught a thermal image on the north end of the LBL within a stone's throw of where the 82 massacre supposedly happened. And it's a thermal image that matches what people describe the beast of LBL looking like. So there's that. That is irrefutable. Nobody will ever convince me. Nobody faked me. Nobody hoaxed me. There are certain things that we've experienced that I just go, that was real. It's that thermal image of whatever that was in the LBL, the Brown Mountain Lights, the audio we caught in North Georgia, those weird eyes that came behind you, certain things that I just go, I feel comfortable staking my life on, just going, that's real, strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
That being said, when we were in the area where Martin Grove's attack happened, we heard and saw some weird stuff, man. And as we have kind of grown beyond just the surface information of the LBL, Again, because we've done some stuff there, but there's people like Martin Groves, Barton Nunley that have been doing this for like a long, long time. Y'all would be shocked if you knew of the information that Martin Groves has above and beyond. Everybody always wants to hear about the attack that happened, as well they should. It's an insane story. You know what I'm saying? It's an insane story. That alone would make you go to the Tennessee Wildman Conference just to see Martin Groves tell that in person. Because I'll tell you what'll happen. We've heard it several times, and what'll happen when he's telling it, we'll be standing there going with our mouths open, riveted, because it happens every time. But if you look at what the people who are the most credible in the LBL, and you look at what we've experienced, these things are all over the damn place. We found what looked like Bigfoot tracks in the cemetery on the north end.
Yeah.
In the wintertime. We have heard and seen what might be Dogman in the south.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. Why do people think that they're at odds with each other? Because I think that that's like it's what people think should happen.
It's sexy.
It's sexy. You know, they fight. That's what they do. They're different and they fight. Where are the reports of that? Where are the reports of people, credible people saying?
Marcus Aurelius throwing it out there. Maybe Bigfoot and Dogman are working in tandem since the 82 massacre to both their benefit, to draw less attention to both species.
Maybe the phenomena are related. Maybe the phenomena are all from the same. Maybe there's other phenomena that we have not yet witnessed that's directing
pulling
all
the
of
strings.
it. That's directing all of it. Maybe it's the same phenomena manifesting itself in different ways. I don't know. But what I do know is that I have yet to see any evidence that there's some war going on. Have we found torn up areas that have Bigfoot and Dogman tracks leading in? The area's torn up and then only one set of tracks coming out? I mean, if anybody's got that information, share it with us. Because
we should ask our resident super secret spy that's from the military installation.
So it's nobody seems to have that credible information.
No.
So I don't think that that's a thing that's happening.
86 has a cool one here. Are there actually DUMs in the LBL that you know of? Don't know. We've gotten some weird readings.
I will tell you again, let's focus on what we can.
What do we know?
What we know is that I know that if you go into that area with certain equipment and you know what you're looking at, you see stuff that should not be going on. And you see stuff that would indicate that there's some sort of
military communication
going on. And I know that sounds crazy. And let's just be honest, man. There's underground military bases is just something that just gets tacked onto almost everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just because the story's taken a life of its own and it's just building. You know what I'm saying? It's just people are adding to the story. I would have thought that and I'm not saying there's an underground like military base.
At the same time, though, isn't this phenomena crazy enough? Why do we have to go so like?
But
are you bored with the reality of the situation?
That's human nature. But at the same token, though, I can't say that there's underground military bases, but I will tell you that there are areas in the LBL where there ain't nothing there, and then you get like burst communication going on. You get some real weird stuff if you've got the right. It ain't a cell tower. You ain't picking up like FM radio. It's weird. It's very weird. And there's other weird stuff going on in the LBL that you can pick up if you go there with the right technology. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know what it means. I'm just telling you it's there. And I don't think enough people are, just because the tool doesn't completely explain something doesn't mean it's useless. Okay. Yeah. Just because, yes, this spectrum analyzer or this geophone or anything like that's not giving us all of the answers, it can give you some of the answers, or at least some of the information. Mm-hmm. So,
Debbie Preggy, thank you for
just a dot for $9.99. Thank you for that, Debbie. We greatly appreciate it.
The dot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's got a little dot there. It looks like, doesn't it? Talking about the Joro spiders get to your locations. No, they're here. We nearly ran into them several times. Yeah. Again, old forestry roads are like our bread and butter. Ones that have been closed off for like 20, 30 years and just left to like let the forest take over. It's like a natural highway for stuff. So, but over that, those spiders build their freaking nests, man. I mean, their webs. Those webs are so thick, man. You got that footage for that, right? You ought to just release us. We focus in on just a single strand that's holding this web up, and it's like thicker than like a thread. It's like you can just pluck it like a guitar string. It does not break. It's insane.
Patricia Gambino Harrington on here. She goes, guys, remember the door that I'm obsessed with that you two found at the LBL? I think it's
a door that
blast door, basically.
So let's talk about this because everybody likes the 82 massacre. Is that where the 82 massacre supposedly took place at? There's those concrete structures that people call the bunkers.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are rainwater cisterns.
Yeah.
And when there were buildings there before.
And I can tell you that, like, for certain, those are rainwater cisterns.
Because you can go find those at the Empire Farms there.
Yes. If you go to Empire Farms, which is still an intact farm from the same era.
It's rotten, but it's still there.
It's still intact. It's still there. There are rainwater cisterns there. They're the same construction materials from the same era, same dimensions as the things referred to as the bunkers at the alleged 82 massacre site. Some of those are rainwater cisterns. There was a neighborhood right there.
Now, there are a couple that we don't know what they were used for yet.
Yeah.
And every time we talk about it, somebody goes, oh, they were used to store dynamite or TNT. When the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, no, they're not. Because you can go online and you can find what the dynamite bunkers like TNT storage look like. This ain't them. I don't know what those are. But a lot of the bunkers have very mundane origins. Okay?
Yeah. There used to be a school there. There was the Oakwood schools. That there was like one of the only black schools in the land between the rivers.
Yeah, and then there was what appears to be other stuff that went on there. I'm just going to go and tell you right now, we don't think that the campground story. We don't think that there was an RV campground where people think it was.
No.
Where if you hear the regular story. And we differ with some of our peers who have been studying it longer than us. It's just that we've seen some stuff and learned some stuff, but we don't think it was there. We don't think it was in that commonly recognized area. We think it was somewhere else. But because we went through a part in our lives where we don't think that 82 massacre happened at all. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think there was a campground where everybody thinks there was a campground at. And I have stuff to back that up. And we'll eventually release that. We'll do it. We'll do a big thing on that and be ready for the fallout on that. And then we didn't happen. The 82 massacre didn't happen. But then we found another spot.
That really fits the T.
Fits the T to what you hear about.
Yeah.
And
but it's in a different
area. And then you look at it, you go, this makes sense. This happened. But
it just didn't happen where they think it happened.
But I digress. So those bunkers up there, 2 of them are interesting. Most of them are mundane. Mm-hmm. But near Station 16, we found a legit bunker. We found a legit concrete reinforced bunker that looks like somewhere that you would go into and shut the damn door. Okay. And that's not TNT storage. Okay. It's not. Okay. But there was no door to it. And then in an old TVA work shed that's not too far away, I found the door. Found a door. And it locks, it bolts from the inside with multiple locks. And there is it's a 2-paned little viewport there with glass like that thick that's wire reinforced. Almost like you could lock yourself in and look out. And we're looking at it and we went, that matches the opening of that little bunker we just saw. This place, that thing had the ability to get in and lock yourself into.
I think some of these stories are true. I just think that some of our locations
Telephone game
wrong.
has happened.
Telephone game has
happened. Stories changed over time.
And we've done some digging into
thank you for that dead end yard hunt. Yes. $4.99. A mask and a $5. Not bad. So
we've been on the ground. Yes, we've been on the ground and done some digging there. We've also done some digging on another end on documents, maps, old documents and things that were circulated. And, we've found a lot of interesting stuff, and we've found some real hard evidence that is contrary to the story you hear ad nauseum at this point.
But
there will be fallout.
Once you look at it, you go, I see how the story evolved that way.
Yeah.
And I see how, we've got theories behind that. But anyway, Ghetto Yeti had mentioned people don't understand how difficult it is to do lives in the middle of nowhere. Doing lives, it's not some ghost hunt in an abandoned whatever inside or near a major city. Too much reality TV. About once a month, I just go, God, I wish we'd gotten into ghost hunting. You drive there, you pull up in your van, you carry your little bags inside. You
Craft services is outside.
Yeah, it's just, and then you're just going, okay. I mean, some of these places have like AC and like heat and all that. And you're going to go and you're going to research this, you're going to investigate this haunted house, and you got your little tech out, and oh my God, did you hear that voice? A floorboard creaked. Oh my Lord, it's here with us. It's here with us. And then if it gets too bad, you just walk outside. I'm going to go get a breath of fresh air, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes, man. Think how awesome that would be. You know what I'm saying? That would be awesome.
So there's also the possibility, you got to think about too, that the LBO was taken over by the TVA in the 60s.
Tennessee Valley Authority.
Tennessee Valley Authority.
Kicked everybody off the land.
Because it was a part of the hydroelectric program to bring electricity to rural Tennessee. That's what the dams are for. That's what all that's for. So in order to build all of that stuff, it was the TVA functioned a lot like the CCC, which was the Civilian Conservation Corps. And they had people that would work for them, and they would live in these camps. So there's CCC had work camps, TVA had work camps as well. So some of these locations that we're finding around the LBL are also remnants of TVA work camps. So you've also got the remnants of old houses. You got the remnants of old, there was like stores. There was a whole area that was what was referred to Little Harlem or something.
Little Harlem had one of the largest black middle classes for that time. And
they had jazz clubs. It was like a whole bustling, small, like little area. So the LBL used to not be so wild. I think it's wilder now than it's ever been.
The forest cover is increasing every year because they've just left it to rot. They were supposed to, for those of you who don't know anything beyond the 82 story, there were two rivers on either side of that. The federal government dammed them, created the two lakes, and then basically kicked everybody off their land and said, listen, this is going to bring electricity to the region with the hydroelectric dam. We're also going to develop this peninsula into just like a wonderland. It's going to bring so much tourism dollars to the area. The whole area is going to grow wealthy off of this. So it's worth it kicking you out of your homes. And then what did they do with it? There's an RV section. There's a couple of campgrounds.
There's an off-roading section.
There's an off-roading section, and there's like a horse camp. And that is such a microscopic part of that territory there, and the rest of it's just left to rot.
Yeah.
And then it's just, there's weird rules. You can't take firearms down there. It's dangerous. It's just, the whole place is just weird. The whole place is.
Lady Wolf was asking, did they make all those people leave the LBL by using a form of eminent domain?
Oh, yeah, they eminent domained them and then kicked them out.
Now, there was a huge, there was a lot of protests about it because they offered people compensation for their land, but it really wasn't enough. And they ended up physically forcing people off.
It's a lot of violence.
There was a lot of violence with that because there were people who were just like, they were not leaving. This is our land. This is our family land, and we're not leaving.
What if you ever want to hear a good story? I don't know if our buddy South Force 10's in the chat tonight, but this part of the South has undergone like just a population explosion post-COVID. But you've still got a lot of people that are from the rural areas of the South. Okay. And South Force 10, he's got a YouTube channel. Put a link to that when we get done here, to his YouTube channel. Okay. He's got some great stories on the feral people that you always hear about. Okay. So let me take you through a little possible scenario here. Your family farm that you've had for several generations has been eminent domained, either to make the land between the lakes or to make the national forest system or whatever. You're kicked off. You don't want to leave. It's all you have. You've been given a pittance.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go to? Your whole life is tied into this land.
A lot of these people are rural farmers. That's how they make their living. Is the land that they.
So you're kicked off your land. You got nowhere to go. You sneak back in. Okay. You sneak back in and you stay there. And you can't go to town a lot because you can't let people know that you're there. So you're there, and then you have kids, and then those kids grow up, and maybe those kids marry, or the next family over and the next holler who's also there hiding out. You do that for 2 or 3 generations. No medical care, no official schooling. The buildings you're in start to rot. You can't get supplies to replace them. Wild pig, like domesticated pigs, get out of the enclosure, and they're feral.
like with the quickness.
Not only does their behavior change, their physiology changes. They start to grow hair. They start to grow, their tusks get bigger and sharper and stronger. So I'm not saying that would happen with people, but you get a few generations up there and all of a sudden the idea of feral people in the national parks doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore.
Yeah.
It sounds far-fetched if you're living in like San Diego in like a $5,000 a month apartment, you know what I'm saying? Or like you're in Chicago and you've never left the city limits. But if you're in these areas, it ain't that far-fetched. He's got some crazy stories, man, about like, I think it was his uncles got hired back after World War II at one point to go in and thin out the feral population. And I think it was Smoky Mountain National Forest because they were getting too bold and they knew they couldn't wipe them out, but they had to like basically scare them back in.
Kind of going off that same, just bouncing off of that. Pork Chop Express says, look up the road to nowhere in Bryson City, North Carolina.
Yep.
Same story. Where the road to nowhere is, there's that tunnel that goes and the road just ends. That is the edge of a piece of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park that is one of the widest swaths of wilderness I think in the southeast
this side of the Mississippi,
that nobody's gone into in a very, very, very long time. There are hiking trails that are down below, like near where they're north of like Fontana. There's a bunch of cemeteries above Fontana and stuff like that. But there's like a whole vast like swath of wilderness that nobody has gone into.
Here's my analogy.
A very long time.
Go into your kitchen floor, move all the furniture to the side. Take a big bag of sand and just drop it on your kitchen floor, spread it out, smooth it out. Now take a needle and just draw a couple of like little marks through that sand. That's basically what the hiking trails look like in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
Yeah.
It's so people go, I'm there all the time. I never seen anything weird.
You're staying on
that trail. There are miles and miles and miles and miles that maybe nobody's ever gone into. Or maybe if you do, you're making so much noise, busting through the brush, anything that's in there is going to be able to avoid you. No freaking problem. So
Charlie Budden asked, sorry.
I was just going to thank Marcus Aurelius. He'd take a dog man over a wolf spider. I'm right there with you, buddy. So I'm right there with you.
Charlie Budden asked, this is about the LBL. He said, do you think the cryptid sightings there is what caused them to not build in there? Or did it maybe stop them from trying? Joe and I have talked about this a couple of times before, but it seems like with the LBL, there's only a couple of ways to get in there. From the south, you have that area. The bottom in the south area is the biggest border. That borders with Tennessee there. It's in Tennessee. You've got two bridges on either side. So you have water crossings. And then at the north, you've got Grand Rivers, Kentucky up there, but you have to get there by going over two bridges. One's over a canal, one's over the lake and everything. So you have to go over bridges to get in there. If you wanted to completely isolate that peninsula, save the bottom, which could easily be walled off or protected in a way. If you wanted to completely isolate that peninsula, you blow 3 bridges. And
then you block it off.
You could block it off or blow 3 bridges.
There's a lot of we're not going to spill it all right now, but there's a lot of local confusion as to why the LBL is managed the way that it is. And the LBL is like any other place in the world you go to that has weird stuff. Like I guarantee you, if you went to Skinwalker Ranch right now and started going to all the neighbors, 50% of them would be going, oh yeah, there's weird stuff here. The other 50% would go, it's all made up. It's nothing at all.
Yeah.
It's like that everywhere. It's like that in the LBL. You can find long-term residents there that have had weird stuff happen. And then you'll have long-term residents there that'll tell you that it's just all fake and there's nothing going on at all. But there is a lot of confusion as to why this land was seized and then nothing was done with it. It was supposed to be a money maker. It was supposed to be revenue generated from it. And people go there and do stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near what it was supposed to be.
What the promise was. These people were sold a bill of goods about why they had to get off of this land and lose everything they had, and they got nothing for it, and nothing came of it.
There's a meltdown that I have on camera because parts of the LBL, especially on the edges, have like garbage in them. You know what I'm saying? Garbage stretching back to like before World War I in some areas. You find old garbage pits. But we were somewhere and somebody had dumped garbage there. And it was like an old toilet and it was just a bunch of, and then there's like the remnants of like an old house over there. And I'm going, it's so great that these people got kicked off their land just so people could come here and treat it like a garbage dump, just so this land could basically just get trashed. And it's going wild in certain areas, but it's just rotting away in others.
Yeah, we got to re-up our tetanus shots.
Yeah, we got to do that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Observations from the swamp. This is good. When I was stationed at Fort Campbell, which is not that far from the LBL, in the 80s, there were military police I knew who swore they encountered a Bigfoot in a long-term vehicle storage area in the backwoods. Somebody else had asked earlier. Let me see if I can find it because I started, never got to it. Phil Stern had asked, what was the story with the helicopters that were flying above when you went to that secluded camp area in the LBL? Now, I can't remember what they're called. SOAR. I just completely, it's like the 160th. They're like Nighthawks or something like that, but it's the Special Operations Aviation Regiment is based out of Fort Campbell. They do helicopter exercises around there all the time.
Yeah.
They will fly over the LBL occasionally. That's not out of the ordinary. Okay. That in itself is not out of the ordinary. That will happen. There are helicopters and small planes that go over the LBL and it's completely mundane. What's not ordinary is when they're closing off huge segments of the LBL for a hog eradication program, but none of the local employees know anything about it or really know what's going on, and they don't understand where all these outside people are coming from.
And this happened while we were there, and we actually asked employees why we were there.
And what are these explosions we're hearing? We think they're blowing the hogs up. Is that what they're doing? What are these helicopters? Who do these helicopters belong to? The outside contractors. Who are the outside contractors? Oh, I don't know. That's really weird. They're not telling us much. Have you had hog hunts here in the past? Yeah, usually the Department of Natural Resources, come in and does it. Now it's outside contractors that nobody knows anything about. The locals were being used to handle road closures, but they didn't know what was going on. I was just told to stay here and tell people not to use this road.
160th SOAR, Timothy Kunzman says.
Yeah. So when we were in that abandoned campground, a helicopter went overhead and circled a bit, and you put that in the video, didn't you? Because
Yeah.
I even went. If they're using thermal, they already caught us. They've already got us on thermal. But just on the off chance, let's not make it easy. Let's hide under this tree. If they had thermal, if they were running thermal, they got us. And then when we came back to do a night investigation there were official
Vehicles there.
There were unmarked police vehicles, one from Kentucky, one from Tennessee. I don't know if they were state. They could have been federal law enforcement that just were officed, one in Kentucky and one in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
There are FBI offices and all that there. I don't know. There were official police vehicles there. So did they pick us up? I don't know. When we were at the area of Martin Grove's attack site it was Jessi, myself, the Deuster and D, Barton and Letitia Nunley and Martin Groves were all hanging out at the vehicles, and there are helicopters going overhead. And we're looking, and Martin Groves doesn't even look up. He just goes, you're not going to see them. They run.
I included audio from the night before in that video.
He goes, they run blacked out through here. And a helicopter proceeded I caught him on the thermal, I caught him on the thermal imager. We could see the helicopter running completely blacked out. That might have been a training exercise. That training exercise seemed to hover over where we were, you know what I'm saying? While we were in that area. We don't see that in other parts of the LBL.
Yeah.
So is it coincidence? It's a pretty weird ass coincidence if it's a coincidence. And again, here's the difference between a campfire story and what we're telling you. We have audio.
I have video.
We have video of it. Okay. That's why we film everything.
That's why we go there.
That's why we go there, is it's now not just campfire stories.
It's not like I heard they were doing operations in a hog hunt in the LBL.
We have video showing it. We're there. We have video showing it's going on. Okay?
I recorded while I was talking to one of the employees of the LBL. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get that released because I didn't get permission to do that.
Yeah. But we'll release you what we can, and we'll go from there. I'll answer this. Rob S., do you believe the Roger story from the LBL?
No.
We mentioned him in our first LBL video because he had come forward when all of that had happened. I don't care. We're not his favorite people, but he was believable when he came out. Until you get there and you spend time in the LBL, the story starts to
fall apart.
And then the fact that the story went from being just a normal guy who had a bad day to now he's like this weird millionaire who's tied into a government
breeding program.
And the story just all of a sudden just fell apart. So
Yeah.
I don't. If you guys believe him, that's up to you.
I got a bridge to sell you too, by the way.
But if you guys believe him, that is up to you. And I won't. All I would do is I would encourage you to take a critical eye, look at the story, look at the way the story has changed over time, and how he has changed over time. And I always say this, that it's a proven fact that in the 80s, before that, from the 50s on, it got really high in the 80s. The Air Force admits to whenever groups would gather to talk about UFOs, these little UFO citizen groups, they would send Air Force intelligence agents into these groups to monitor what was going on and to just basically spread bullshit. Okay. Which is weird because if there's no UFO, then why would you do that?
Why bother?
Why bother? But they did it. They admit it. Richard Doty, all of that, they did that. And we're being idiots if we don't think that something similar is going on
when it comes to physical cryptids.
When it comes to physical cryptids.
Absolutely.
If you don't think that there's that crazy person who always seems to cause problems in your Facebook group, anytime a conversation starts up about Bigfoot, it might just be a crazy person. It might also be, come on, man. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens. I start to look at people like this. By your actions, are you, even if you disagree with somebody, are you furthering like conversation of the topic along, or are you just a bull in a china shop?
Are you derailing constantly?
Derailing it for no reason at all. And if you don't think that happens, you can call me paranoid if you want to. But if you think that if they would do it for UFOs, why wouldn't they do it for the physical stuff on the ground that we know exists? And there you are. Let the chips fall where they may.
Marcus Aurelius, and again here, 1999.
Marcus Aurelius, Jesus Lord, stop! You either live in a mansion
or a
cardboard box, and you're going, all my money's going to Helmet Holler. Do not do that if it's putting you in a bad position, my friend.
All right. So. Did the LBL start rotting into disarray after the 82 incident, or has it been a constant dissolution into nothingness over time per government funding?
Watch your words with this.
Of the location.
Watch your words with this.
I'm not going to say anything. You speak. You go ahead. I have nothing to say.
It accelerated after 1982 in more areas than just that northern area of the LBL.
Yes.
Maybe you've seen some of those areas that have, it's accelerated after 82. It's accelerated after 82. It seemed like in 82, it seems like there are certain times when stuff seems to pick up steam. After 82 is one of them, and after the early 90s is another one. And what happened in the early 90s? Martin Groves' incident. So there are.
I don't show my cards.
I know, but I'm just saying there's something very particular that we're dancing around right now.
Yeah.
That we will eventually talk about, and we're not trying to hide it. We're not trying to build anticipation for it. We just don't have all of our ducks in a row yet, and there's still stuff we're looking into. But I can look you in the eye through this camera and tell you that that it accelerated after 82 and it accelerated after the early 90s.
Yeah.
And it seems to tie in and coincide with very dramatic reported dogman activity there.
I remember when we uncovered some stuff that we were uncovering, and we were sitting there, and I just went, "Oh my God!" Yeah. All right.
Also, there is, and I want to reiterate this point again, that Martin Groves is far more than just. He has far more to offer than just his account of what happened.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more going on that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Is that fair enough to say?
Yes.
We're very lucky to have people like Barton Nunley and Martin Groves looking into this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just going to say that it seems like official stuff happens after these supposed non-existent dogman attacks down there. It's the timing
when
is
there's
very
so
odd.
when there's so many coincidences.
Yeah,
it's no longer a coincidence. Pork Chop Express, thank you, sir, for that 1999.
He hates clowns, apparently.
He hates clowns.
He's got a clown with a little.
He's an anti-bozoite.
He's an anti-bozoite. Quartz Grinder was on here. We were talking about you earlier, buddy.
Hey, Quartz Grinder.
You guys definitely put in more work than folks researching in a haunted house. We know some ghost hunters who actually trade, because ghost hunters they use a lot of tech. They want to document stuff. You don't really see that in other fields. So we have a couple ghost hunting friends that I'll be like, hey, have you ever done this before? That we bounce ideas. They're hardworking. They're obsessive people. They're indoors, man. And that would be nice sometimes. So
we got Matt's Tube of You on here. $10, sir. Thank you so much. Can see how there may be government involvement regarding Bigfoot, for instance, how big business money has invested in areas of sightings and also the liability on the side of the government. 411 casebook.
I think there's some truth to that. I always tie
Stingray's back.
Stingray's back. All right. During the UAP, and again, for those of you that are new to this channel, you're going to hear me talk about the UAP disclosure a lot, the UFO disclosure that's going on a lot. The witnesses, the government whistleblowers that are coming forward, not because I'm saying that dogmen and Bigfoot are climbing out of UFOs, but there are some similarities between this stuff that people have tried to keep hidden from you. And one of the things you often hear about is why? Why do they keep it hidden? What benefit do they have to have this massive cover up? One of the most truthful sounding answers that I've heard is it's just because that's the way it is. They decided to cover it up in the beginning and they just kept the lie running. And now they're trapped into this thing of going, we can't admit that we've been lying for so long, especially if there has been human deaths involved in this.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to come out and tell you there are these things. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they come from. We can't stop them. Sometimes you see them in the sky, sometimes you see them on the ground, and sometimes they take people. We don't know where they go to. Sometimes they kill people. We don't know why. So that's going on, and we've known about it pretty much forever, and we just didn't tell you. So sorry about all that, but that's the end of this press conference. You guys have a good day. They can't. They've trapped themselves under the lie. So I think that's true with the UAP phenomenon, and I think that's true with the physical stuff that's on the ground. What would be more disruptive to your daily life? To know that there's some weird lights flying around the sky and occasionally they take people, or that there's 8-foot tall super apex predators running around the national forests and they don't know what they are.
Sorry about that, guys.
So anyway.
Marcus Aurelius on here. So, okay. So if the Roger testimony is not real, and I do trust your judgment, where exactly did the 82 incident come from that makes it anything beyond the legend of the area?
Jan Thompson brought the story out. Other people have looked into it, Barton Nunley being one of them, has looked into one of them.
The Roger development is just within the past couple of years because he did an interview with the Cryptid Studies Institute on YouTube. So that has not been part of.
And we thought it was worthwhile at first.
Yes. But that's
I'm sure there'll be we'll be getting emails going, Roger, we did a video on you guys, and that's his prerogative.
That's his narrative has not been part of the overarching story up until the past couple of years. It came out of nowhere. But it's been up until this point, it's been the Jan Thompson story.
Yeah. And here's the deal is that there's not everybody is in lockstep on this. Okay. Like if you got the main LBL people and we're the least of those, you know what I'm saying? If you got like the Hendersons and Barton Nunley and Martin Groves and other people, I don't know if Mark wants his name used, but the other people that have been doing this far longer than us, and then you put us on there because at least our names are associated with it. Not all of us are going to be in lockstep on this stuff, okay? And that's fine, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But it's there's something there. There's something going on there. And our thought process is that the telephone game has happened to a certain extent.
For sure.
Stories get changed over time and they evolve. That doesn't make them false. That just means that you kind of got to peel a few layers back on.
That some people have been the victim of a misinformation campaign at some
I
point.
think that has happened as well. And then I think some of it's just good old-fashioned storytelling, or I heard you tell a story and I repeat it and I just don't get all the details right. I got the gist of it right. But we went with the 82 thing, going down there thinking the LBL and the idea of Dogman, all of it was ridiculous. We laughed about it the whole time going down until we caught that thermal image of something that looks like the beast of LBL, and it's alive and it's giving off body heat and it moved. So, and it behaved in a predatory manner. So we walked away going, oh my God, it's real. And then we looked into it some more and we knew that there was something there, but we didn't think the 82 massacre happened. We thought that that was just something that was made up. And then we came full circle going, happened. I just think that the location's off a little bit.
And
that's
you know
my
what?
problem.
And a lot of people say that that's what they like about us is that we are able to evolve our thinking and evolve our theories based on information that we are presented with.
I'm not wrong. I want to make sure that I put that. It's not being wrong. I've evolved.
I've evolved. I'm a higher creature now.
No, and that's how you treat stuff.
But you
treat it going, this is what I'm leaning towards because the data that's in front of me, and if the data changes, I can do one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
I can either ignore the data that doesn't fit with
I can roll with the data and learn from it and evolve my thinking and evolve my theories. And okay, now let's pivot here. Let's see where this takes us and where we can go from here.
And so if you want what the data that I have in front of me, the 82 massacre, something happened there.
Yeah.
You asked about Roger.
I think some of the details
we thought he
wrong.
was legit at first, but then it's somebody who has different names, doesn't show their face. The story has evolved. The pattern that I usually see with people that are hoaxing stuff is that they tell a story, they get attention, that attention starts to fade. The story has to grow in order to keep attention.
Yeah.
So now it's not just
we've gone from I was a little boy who was
I was a normal guy. Now I'm tied into the government's
Dogman breeding program.
Dogman, I don't even know the whole story at this point because I get it secondhand. I don't watch the stuff, but tied into it, and I know the people that run it or something like that. I mean, you can watch your own bit. Here's the deal. Here's what I highly encourage you to do. Watch it yourself and don't just go, I want a good story. I just go, does this make sense to me? You know, does this make sense? Does this seem believable?
This is Bob Millsap, and he's the breeder of the dog.
And you know what? Here's the deal. Maybe one day we'll be presented with information that changes our mind on that.
My God, it's Bob Millsap and he's bred dogmen.
And so, but right now, I mean, you guys asked, I'm just going to answer it. You know what I'm saying? So,
we're about to quit the channel anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to us, but I would, like I said, all I do is just look at it with a critical eye and go, does this seem like something that I find, just watch it, how it evolves and just, Anyway.
Jan Thompson is not still alive. Somebody asked if Jan was still alive. Jan has passed.
Jan has passed away. So,
but yeah, do you want to keep going or what do you want to do?
We'll catch up with the chat.
Okay.
And see if there's anything else on here that we want to address. And then we've gone along tonight. We've gone over.
Is there anything we want to address?
Is there anything we want to address?
Does anybody want to air any grievances?
Any grievances to be aired?
Any grievances you want to air? I'm ready.
So, and listen, here's the deal. Don't take my word for it. You go look at it. Stingray believes him up and down. And who am I to challenge Stingray?
I'm with Pig Boy.
I'm with Pig Boy.
Did you just call me a pig?
So, all right. Anybody got anything that you want to pop up? Anybody got anything? Last time. Ask now. Hold your peace. Anything
Are we
at
doing
all?
last call?
We're doing last call.
Last call for alcohol.
Last call for stuff, guys.
Yeah. Make sure before you head out that door that you hit that like button. Yeah, if you guys got anything else, throw it into the chat. We'll get to it. I'll do some housekeeping before we get to those last chats. Guys, make sure that if you are coming to the Tennessee Wildman and Crypticon, you get your tickets, you ready to go. It's weekend after next. It's October 14th and 15th in Burns, Tennessee at Montgomery Bell State Park. I will be speaking on that Saturday, October 14th. I will be coming on right before the man himself, Ron Moorhead. I'm talking about our field investigations, evidence we've gathered, and how our theories and methods have evolved over the years and how we do what we do. And we do it so well.
I'm doing a good job.
Doing a good job. So if you guys want to come out to that, that would be amazing. We'd love that. We're going to have all of our equipment so you can see all of our equipment in person. You can ask us questions, meet us. The Stitch Witch is bringing some hats. So I'm going to have some hats for the event. We're going to bring some t-shirts to the event, some pint glasses, little gigas and doodads. Tchotchkes.
Just curious how to think. The first person I ever heard speak about the LBL attack, at least 8 years ago, also said it happened in a different spot than widely believed. I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is. I think I know who that is, but I'd
like to talk to
there is the commonly accepted spot. There's two more spots that I know about, and then there's the spot that we think it is. And not everybody agrees with us, and that's fine. That's fine. Todd Mitchell, I missed why you almost quit. This is rough sometimes.
It's a combination of factors.
This is rough sometimes. We were frustrated over
Everything.
The attempts at people with way too much time on their hands to try to like.
I'm tired of losers trying to sabotage my channel because all I do is spend all of my money and all of my time to do this channel, to buy this equipment, to go out in the woods. We don't take vacations or do any crap like that because we want to do this and we enjoy doing this. But if losers keep coming on here trying to F with my channel, I'm going to just quit and be like, you know what? I'm going to go on vacation.
And then we see people that we know and we like supporting those people that are messing with us. And we're going, again, this is not a disagreement on the nature of Bigfoot. And somebody had mentioned in the chat earlier, I think Josh is probably gone. Josh Turner's got a million things going on right now.
He has a job like others.
Josh has like 3 jobs. Like,
Go on.
But somebody had mentioned that, it looked like he was getting ready to quit. He's feeling it too, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of work that goes into this. And some people have been very kind tonight and, kind of funding the hunt here right now.
And we appreciate that.
And we appreciate that a great deal. And it helps a lot. But I'm just going to lay our cards on the table. If we took anything we had made off of YouTube and added it up, it wouldn't cover one of our thermal imagers.
No.
And we've got 3. Okay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cover 1 thermal imager. And we've got 3. It would not make a dent in what we've spent on this.
No.
And that's not counting gas. It's not counting just all the other stuff that goes along with it. So then when you're Monday morning, you're so beat up physically from doing this stuff and you're cut and your joints hurt and like you're banged all the hell. And then I know that. And if somebody wants to say, oh God, you guys are crybabies, knock yourself out. I don't care. But it hit us that. And we were just going, you know what? We would be able to get further with the investigations if we killed the YouTube aspect.
Yep.
And we didn't share it. And sometimes we even go, why are we bothering to share this? And we're not expecting people to take us as gospel. But here's the difference between us is that we don't tell you a story. We do occasionally because there's some stuff we can't share. 90% of what it is, we can share the stuff. If we tell you we saw the Brown Mountain lights, here's the footage of not only the Brown Mountain lights, but the footage of us seeing the Brown Mountain lights.
Yeah, there you go.
We saw what looks like a dog man on thermal in the LBL.
Here's us recording what appears to be a dog man in the LBL.
LBL on thermal, okay? We saw some weird lights in the woods. We found some footprints. We did it. Here's the video evidence of us doing it. That's not easy to collect.
Yep.
So
anyway, we do appreciate you guys that come on the channel and really appreciate what we do. That's why we stick around. That's why we're going to stick around. We might make some adjustments in the future how we do stuff because we got to kind of reassess. It's that time of year when you got to kind of let the old stuff die and get ready for the next harvest. So we are reassessing how we're doing stuff. We might change stuff around a little bit here at the channel, but we want you guys to know, everybody that supports us and everything like that, everybody who comes and watches and joins in these conversations and is part of this, we really appreciate you guys. Y'all rock. I mean, where else could I get a freaking custom werewolf mask of myself sent to my PO box?
And you've got people like Steve Tichenal, who every Monday goes, it's Hellbent Holler Day.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And that means the world to us. But like I said, sometimes it gets a little, ain't nobody forcing us at gunpoint to do this. This is what we enjoy. But at the same token, sometimes you just go, damn it, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Man?
But we do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we do appreciate you guys.
Tim Prater, keep strong. You have way more supporters than the tractor.
I think we just died for a minute.
No, we didn't.
It died on I'm watching it on.
What's happening?
I don't know. We blacked out for a minute.
Did we black out?
Blacked out.
Tim Prater, keep strong. You have way more supporters than detractors. Thank you, Tim Prater.
And you know what? No, we do. It just, but what we run into is that this is why we were trying to make people understand this is not us. Again, we'll use Roger. Roger dogged us through one way down the other. We were fake. We were out there. What did he claim? We were out there vandalizing the LBL. We were digging holes. We were pretending that we were military, just doing all this stuff because we dared to look into the LBL and our names got associated with it. And here's the other thing too, is there's tons of people out there doing the LBL. Knock yourselves out.
Yeah.
More people looking into it. You ain't no threat to us. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we're no threat to you. But when we are trying to legit point out something that's really making this content creation difficult and people are going, oh, don't get involved in the drama. It's just, it was a perfect storm of just bullshit. And that's what we'll leave it at that. So
we're still here for now.
For now.
We're still here. Still not dead. Jessi and Joe, still not dead. They try.
Nobody encrypted response just got in. We've got to send encrypted response package out.
Yeah, yep. Sorry, I didn't leave the house today.
Yeah, I haven't got everything
Working on a presentation and a documentary.
bagged up. So,
all right. Well, guys, we love y'all. We appreciate it.
we appreciate you sticking
with us.
We
did a lot of bitching tonight.
We did a lot of bitching tonight. That was the airing of the grievances.
Tonight's the airing of the grievances.
Airing of the grievances. So
sometimes you got to do that, though.
Yeah.
You got to blow off a little steam.
And we're not going to turn into a channel that just gripes all the time. Actually, I will gripe quite a bit. I can't promise that.
We need like a graphic that comes up. Time for the airing of the grievances.
Airing of the grievances, but we don't usually mention other channels unless it's in a positive manner. Todd Standing being the exception because you guys are brutal and Todd.
Y'all are mean to him.
Y'all are mean on Todd Standing.
Y'all would be nice to him.
But anyway, somebody once did I miss the knife check? We'll go out on a knife check.
All right, do another knife check.
Cold steel, immortal. It's got a gladius type tip to it. It's an awesome little, you kind of use it as utility, but it's mostly a self-defense knife. So
the blade looks shorter on camera.
It does look shorter on camera.
I have a Turner CNC La Bruja. It's designed by Ed Calderon of Ed's Manifesto in that limited edition finish heat treat right there. Look how gorgeous that is. That is a gutter right there, boys. But that is a Turner CNC La Bruja, the witch.
So what's coming up is Jessi is getting our Equinox footage kind of done up.
I'm not presenting that as a traditional LBL Hellbit Holler video. I'm going to present that to you guys as a documentary.
Just a full documentary.
So it's, you don't expect it this week. Don't expect it next week.
Because it's kind of it's that area we've had a lot of weird stuff happen. And it's kind of something that it's an evolving chapter there. So we're going to start trying to release it instead of, we'll still be releasing quite a few videos, but she's going to try to do some more documentary style videos just with more information.
Yep, and I can't crank those out in a week, so don't ask me why there's not a video every week.
We are going to try this keyword try. It's funny because we were going to quit. And then when we talked ourselves out of quitting, then we all of a sudden decided we were doing more stuff than before. We're going to try to bring back dark dives that people enjoyed. Those are going to be topical shows. We're going to do them live, though, instead of doing them pre-recorded.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as interactive with the chat. Although I don't think you need us because you guys interact with each other just fine.
Yeah.
But
we will not be taking questions from the chat during the Dark Dive Live. If you want to put a question in the queue, that's going to have to be done through a super chat. That's for the Dark Dive Live.
Sounds crappy, and you ain't got to ask it. Trust me.
That's just the way it is.
Because we looked at other people that are doing this, and guess what? If nobody has any questions and asks, we're still doing the show. It doesn't matter at all.
But the chat, the questions will be at the end of the episode. We're still going to do these on Monday.
But this is like the ones we did with the diabolical hypothesis, and when we talked about infrasound, which got me more hate mail than anything else I've ever seen under the sun. But,
yeah.
We might start doing those on Fridays. We're going to look at the other thing too is that we have some other channels that we respect and we like their content. And what we try to do is try not to
step on toes
because A, it's disrespectful to those channels. B, we want y'all to not be sitting there trying to flip back and forth between stuff you want to see. We're gonna try to give you an option to see.
So we're gonna try that out. We're gonna try it out.
It might be Fridays. We might look and see what other night, but that's the other thing we're looking at too, is we're trying to. It's cool that a lot of the channels are starting to look at each other like that and go, "Hey, I know you're on normally this night. I'm gonna try to do it here." You know, so that, and it gives people more crap to watch, man. So
more crap to watch.
More crap to watch.
All right, guys. We really appreciate you guys being a part of this conversation and a part of this show. Big shout out to Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable.
I
almost said Paramore, like that band. From the Paranormal Roundtable for giving us a shout out earlier and sending a few of his paratroopers our way for our show tonight.
Yep.
We got into it tonight. I think we covered every base possible.
Yep.
But we really appreciate that you guys took your time out of your evening and your day to watch us and participate in this chat and be a part of this conversation. Remember that the Tennessee Wildman and Crypticon is weekend after next in Montgomery Bell State Park in Burns, Tennessee. So if you're coming out, please prepare for all of that. We will be there with all of our buddies. The gruesome crew is going to be out there in full force.
Yep.
So anything else, make sure you like, share, make sure you're still subscribed and you have your notifications on. But we are going to go eat some dinner.
We're going to go eat dinner. So
I want you all to have a great night. Say goodbye to each other. I'm going to put up some music and in this stream, and I want you guys to have a good one. Okay?
Thank you all for coming to our chat.